Hello, it's Keith Keller in Melbourne, Australia. It's another social audio sound check. And we've got 5 people already chomping at the bit to try their tech and to talk about new stuff. So what we know for sure is that a lot of people watch the replay. So I'll just work you through what we'll probably talk about today. And you can just stay as long as you can on the replay. And there's also other ways to connect with us. We're going to talk a lot about tech, the tech that we use. I use a Samsung 2QU dynamic mic. I also use a Zoom P4, which I love. It's my favorite gadget of all time. I do have a P2, which is slightly cheaper, and that works with different types of mics. We'll talk a bit about this today. We're going to talk a bit about the proximity effect, the idea of talking close to the mic to make yourself sound deeper. There's a bit of a technique there, and there is some science behind that. So we're going to talk a bit about that. If you have any questions at all, you can make any questions available there in the comments. They'll come up in the chat. I'll get those and feed them in. It's a live show. It's a live stream. It's very, very cool. And we have room for up to 6 people on the call. What we love to do if we can, we like to get to about 100 comments. Our highest score is 300 comments. I'm so proud. We had 300 comments in the first hour on one of our shows. It was so cool. So cool. And that show went for about 4 hours, but in the first hour, we had 300 comments. It must have been a record. So please make some comments on LinkedIn and also YouTube if you're on YouTube. I got the brand new stats for LinkedIn yesterday. I'm very excited. Very excited. LinkedIn now has 1.2 billion users. 1.2 billion, which is about 15% of people living on Earth have a LinkedIn account. And just in case you want to know where how you fit there, all of the countries are listed. Most of them, 16 million people in Australia have a LinkedIn account. That's well over half. 27 million in Canada. 243 million Americans have a LinkedIn account. Just in case you're wondering why I'm so fussed about it. If you want to connect with me on LinkedIn, it's keithkeller.au. If you're not already, please do that. I do have some small snippets on SoundCloud because I know not everyone wants to do the whole thing, and they're actually Google and Google Notebook audio summaries, so they're not me talking. It's just some funky dude from America. They cloned his voice, and I've done that. That in itself is a point of reference today. And if you want to know more about what I'm doing, I do 2 shows a week, and you can find that out at Where Is Keith Today. So let's get back to the topic. The topic is the social audio sound check. So I had no comments from the audience yet, so we'll check on that in a minute. Our very special guest is Serena, who's calling in from Melbourne. I think, are you in Melbourne, Serena?
Yes, I am, Keith.
You're
Thanks
in Melbourne.
for having me. Yep.
Hello, Melburnian. And you're new to this format because you're a podcaster, and you pre-record your shows. Tell us a bit about what you do and what tech you use. I'm very interested in this.
Well, tech-wise, I've got a Samsung Q2U just like you do. I use that for my solo episodes, but for interviews, I just use Zoom and my Jabra headset, and that seems to work quite well.
Yeah. See, this is the actual this show and the series of shows we'll do as a result came about because another friend of mine, another Melburnian called Sarah, said, "Oh, look, I just got interviewed by this really cool person. Have a listen to this." And I said, "Oh, what'd you do there? That sounds great." No, it doesn't. I just talked into my laptop. No, you didn't. Something's going on there. Well, you'll have to talk to Serena about that. I don't know anything about how she did that, but she does sound good. And I just thought it was me talking into my laptop, but she's a writer, doesn't really know much about tech. I'm a techie. I don't know much about writing. So we're actually quite compatible in a sort of opposites attract type of way. So tell us about that story, Serena. And more importantly, tell us about your relationship with Audacity, which because we're talking about, this is an Audacity special edition. I love Audacity. I could do it all day, every day. I'm very good at it. but it's time consuming. You never got to reach the sort of heights of joy there. You sort of found it frustrating.
Yes, I guess I never hung in there to experience the heights of joy, like you said. I first used it in 2016, so this is like 9 years ago. And a friend and I had just gone through a podcasting 101 course with someone. And out of that course, she got really excited and said, I want to start my own podcast, but I don't want to have to do the tech myself. Now we know how to use Audacity. Do you think you could help? Support me with that. So I used to go with her to all her interviews. Her live interviews are all around Melbourne. And then I would be setting up, the recording onto my laptop and everything without knowing a thing. I've got no tech background whatsoever. And I was just figuring it out as I go, and no idea if the interviews were going to, be properly recorded. But then I went home and played around with Audacity. And that's when I realized how difficult it is to use Audacity and to try and, iron out every single unnecessary filler word or kink or hiccup or stumbling, whatever, and just to make it perfect. And it didn't help that I was a bit of a perfectionist as well, and I wanted my friend's podcast to sound as professional as possible. And that took hours. Every episode literally took hours. It felt as though 1 minute required, 10 minutes of listening and working on Audacity. And over time, that really added up. So I can't remember how many episodes she eventually recorded, maybe 10 or so interviews, but it felt like, oh my gosh, I've just invested a huge chunk of my life just trying to master Audacity and get her podcast listenable. So that's my brief story.
And you're never getting that time back, are you?
No, never.
So, by comparison, you don't have to tell me the exact stats, but
Mm.
how much does it cost you, or how do you process your current podcasts, which sound fantastic? You send it to someone, they do it. You don't need to know how they did it; they just send it back, and it's perfect, right?
Yes, that's right. I recently ramped up the schedule from once a fortnight to once a week. So my podcast producer is working very hard to keep up with the new schedule. And she's based somewhere in, I'm not sure whether it's Portugal or Spain. I've never met her. We've only met online and talked online, and she does an amazing job. She gets the episodes back to me. She takes out all the bits that don't sound good, and she makes me sound good, and she makes my guests sound good. So that's
Yeah.
all I'm asking.
And does it cost very much money?
No, it doesn't. I think when she first started quoting me, she was charging 15 euros an episode,
Okay, about
which
30
which for
Australian
me,
dollars.
which was very affordable.
Yeah, 30 Australian dollars, maybe.
Mm, mm.
So this is actually exactly what the show is about tomorrow, and what we talk about all the time. Is it better to edit? uh, Audacity is a very good example. 10 minutes for every, this is the right ratio, 10 minutes of actual time for every minute you hear. Right? It's amazing and quite debilitating. Luckily, I don't mind doing it. I can only do it if I'm talking, because I love listening to the sound of my own voice. But I can't do it for anyone else. I just can't bear it. So this is the point we're making. Should we pay someone else, or should we use tech and the combination? So we'll run the room on this. Bez has had a really good idea. When anyone's talking, we should list our LinkedIn profiles so that people can find us. So do. Oh, Bez is gone. Just got all excited there, but we can start again. Lynn, tell us about your relationship with doing things yourself versus AI or outsourcing. What do you do?
Well, I do use AI. I use um there's well, for example, last night was a perfect example of using AI, because now Canva has tools that creates, and what I was doing is trying to create a page for my website, that I could add for this group cruise I have upcoming. And so I wanted to have a page where people could just easily view the itinerary and a little bit more detail about me. And Canva has AI. It's like a little assistant you can use right within Canva, So I take advantage of every tool that I can, that will help me for sure.
Yeah. I mean, visuals are another example of where AI has really come to the fore. Like, I'm not a very good creator when it comes to visuals, but with the available tools that we now have, we actually can do miracles. So
Mhm.
this is a very important point. I'm very interested. I'll run with Serena for a while because this is new to her. I'm very interested in how this format interests you, um, or not. What do you think of this format of talking live as opposed to pre-recording? Tell us about how the experience of doing a podcast in advance and having all the control probably suits your personality better. But tell us what your show's about and how the podcast works for you.
Well, the podcast is called the Quiet Warrior Podcast, and the idea is that introverts tend to be perceived as quiet achievers. But my invitation and my challenge to my fellow introverts is that sometimes you have to rise to the occasion when you're put in the spotlight for a certain reason, and sometimes it's not even about you. And if you don't speak up, then somebody else's voice will not be heard or some cause will not be served. And so it's important to be able to become the quiet warrior and to step up with courage and confidence when called upon. So that is the concept of the podcast. And it serves the introvert audience, it serves people who are highly sensitive. And we talk about, the common challenges introverts face. We talk about the myths, the stereotypes. I interview guests on, various subject matter experts in their areas. We talk about fear of public speaking and so forth. But sometimes we also go quite deep and we talk about what it's like to deeply connect with yourself and, talking about childhood conditioning, childhood trauma, and how
Mm,
those things affect the way we show up in the world and why, sometimes with introverts, that actually stems back to something that happened in childhood that they have unconsciously absorbed. And so they've taken it on as part of their identity or their belief.
yeah. You know what? I'm. You may be surprised to hear this, but I am very much in awe of introverts because introverts are self-contained. One of the things that extroverts never tell you is that we are hopeless by ourselves. Like, we need people. Like, it's an essential ingredient for us to function in the world, to be around people. Now that's an incredible burden sometimes because there might not be anyone around, especially during COVID. COVID was extremely difficult for extroverts because we couldn't see people. And it's like food for us, it's like medicine for us. It's not optional for extroverts to be around people, it's part of our DNA. And when there's no one around, I do feel a bit flat. I'm not my best self when there's no one around. I'm a bit of a show off. I have to bounce off people. So introverts to me are my superheroes. And I know that introverts feel sometimes a little bit intimidated by us, but we look at you and we're just in awe. And so we both have a part to play in the world, don't we?
We do indeed. And I love my extroverted friends because they do all the talking for me. I just sit quietly and I listen. And that's all I need to do.
Yeah. No, we bounce off each other. It's very, very, very important. Um, Bez is there, and I want to pick up on this as well. But can we just briefly talk about what tech you're using? You said that you used a Samsung 2QU for your podcast interviews, and that's very cool because that's a solo project. But when you're recording interviews with others, you use Zoom and your headset. Tell us how that works.
I basically just plug my headset into the laptop. I turn on Zoom and I talk and I record. And then I send it all off I send off the raw audio to my podcast producer and she does her magic with it. And then it sounds good.
I can't believe it. This is a miracle. Like, and do you do that because it's easier for the guest? Why wouldn't you use your professional mic when you're speaking?
It's got to do with where I am. Sometimes, there's people walking around and I might pick up some background sounds. So with this headset, I feel quite invincible. I don't know why. I can't
Oh,
explain the tech to it, but it feels like it cancels out or does something and it filters out everything. So none of the background sounds get picked up.
yeah, it's a Jabra. Let me just see if I can. Jabra. What's the model number? Do you know?
I wish I could tell you. I'm looking at it, looking for it, but I don't see any numbers on this particular one.
They're very good. They're very high quality. Has it
Yes.
got two? Has it got two earmuffs, or is it just the one?
2,
Yep. Okay.
like Princess Leia. Yes.
Yeah. So it could be a 40, maybe an is it USB? Just plug straight into your PC?
Yes. Yes. Just plug straight in. Yeah.
Yep. So it's probably a Jabra 40, about $100.
I'll
So,
believe you on that.
yeah, they sort of fit over your ears. You
Mhm.
sort of look like the Amy girl, right?
The Amy girl.
The Amy ads, the Amy.
Call center. Yes.
So you
Oh,
look like a call center worker.
yes.
Hey, look, I just had an accident. No worries. We're here to help. We're here to help. Where are you? Well, I've got a flat tire in the middle of nowhere. Yep, we'll send someone right now.
Yeah. Lucky you're with Amy.
Double AMI is an insurance company here, and here we are. This is branding, right?
Mhm.
Lucky you're with Amy. So you're using. I'll just see. I'll get a picture of this and I'll put it in the. I think this is the one, but even if it's not this one, it's a variation on this idea of two earmuffs and a sort of a cord, a mic coming out of the side, and it sounds pretty good. What are you on that now?
Yes, I am.
Yeah, that sounds pretty good. Would you agree, guys, that we're all sounding pretty good here? Now, this is very, very cool because the show will be about Audacity. If you've got any questions about it, because I know a lot about it. Tomorrow's show is all about, should we even bother doing things ourselves? Should we be really tapping in to the available wisdom in the world? But Bez, you mentioned two things. One is you've got your Behringer 8500s, which is a nice deep resonant sound. Tell us about that, because I know Americo's trying to buy one or something similar. So first things first, what mic are you using? And to let me know about that. And second of all, you wanted to mention your LinkedIn account so that we can connect with you. So Bez, are you there? I'll just give him a call. Hello, Bez, where are you, mate? Come on, where are you? Come on, we're waiting for you. Come on, hello? Hello? Hello, where are you? Come on, where are you, mate? Where are you? Something's going on. All right, so enough of that. Americo, we've chatted already about quite a lot of things. You at one stage had a headset, and it worked pretty well, didn't it?
It did. It had some pretty good, I guess, sound canceling functionality, and I too relied on it quite heavily. I disabled the mic, and I'm using that same headset now along with my Shure SM58.
Yeah. So this is what we talk about. So Serena's even mentioned it. She's got, for a solo podcast, a Samson 2QU, which is what I use, and then Americo's got a Shure SM58. They're $120, right? And we're deciding whether we need to spend that much. I don't think we do. So the Shure SM58 is a classic, probably the classic mic that makes you sound like you're on the radio, which is possibly what you want to do when you're doing your own show. You want it to sound good. So I'm just going to go into a screen here while I'm live on air to show you what the SM58 is. This is a classic microphone look. This is the classic microphone look. Almost every microphone that came after that looks like it. So mine looks like it. The Shure SM58 looks like the Samson. See, they're brothers, but it's half the price. Can you tell the difference? Maybe not. The big story we're now talking about is how can we get this amazing sound, but not have to spend $120? So Bez, who will come in eventually once we've got the roosters out, I think he must be out getting the eggs. Hello, I got some eggs for you. I know, I'm coming. Can you hurry up? We've got people waiting. All right, I'm coming. Anyway, enough of that. So, hello, Robert. Thanks for calling in. We're just having a bit of fun with this tech. So, what Bez uses, and he'll call in on this in a minute, he uses a Behringer 8500. They're $20. In fact, they're so good, they come in a pack of 3, including a big case for like $80. Now, this is just going to be purpose built for your road trip, Americo. Tell us how you're going with your road trip idea. That's starting to really rocket, isn't it?
It's starting to pick up steam. Absolutely, people are curious. They're asking questions, and I'm now focusing and dialing in on some of my social media content, addressing some of the community members who I think would benefit from this tremendously. I put out a post on Instagram and nextdoor.com, which is a local community website, and I sent my first blast to the realtor market. And I think there's great potential. They are great community builders and immerse themselves tremendously in the community. And I saw an example this weekend where realtors are showing up. You know, it's a difficult market here in Canada and the US, but Canada is being hit tremendously hard. And realtors are looking for ways to engage in conversation. And for the last 2 or 3 weeks, I'm seeing them pop up on LinkedIn with endless number of Canvas style posts, but zero engagement. And I had a light bulb moment, an aha moment. It's like, there's my first community outreach campaign. I'm going to reach out to the realtors and share with them how what they do by immersing themselves in the community can be replicated through these live stream events, and how this road trip just lines up so ever so perfectly. So I'm excited. I look forward to start booking some of these events and hit the road and have conversations and bring the communities together and bring the professionals behind those conversations to a place where they can meet their community members, answer questions in real time, and turn events into marketing.
I love how this is developing. Serena, you may not know this, and many people on the call probably don't either, that America and I met in December when LinkedIn audio events were a thing, but then they weren't a thing and they went away. And people are thinking, they were good. They were good. What happened? And all these people were calling us going, what are we going to do now, Keith? I mean, we were really into this. And now they took this really cool format away. And what are we going to do now? So Americo and I got really sort of creative, and we said, okay, well, let's go and try this LinkedIn Live and turn it into an audio event. It was quite hard to do initially, but we got it working. And now we've got this format. So that was how we started. But then America said, well, wouldn't it be cool if I took my gadgets on the road? Imagine if I just took this on the road, plugged a couple of mics in, and talked to people. You can have up to 4 mics on this gadget. Records on an SD card, takes 2 little batteries. You can talk all day. Chuck it in the back seat, just turn up wherever we're going. And this is really starting to push forward, isn't it, Americo? It's really starting to go ahead, isn't it?
Yeah, so this map kind of depicts the greater Toronto area from East End in Peterborough County all the way down to Niagara and the upper New York State area. So I'm trying to build a momentum so that I'm not driving from Niagara to Peterborough on one sitting. And if I can regionalize this so that I'll be in the Peterborough area, so anyone, you're an hour within Ottawa, you can do Peterborough and all the surrounding area, and start to map out a schedule where I can be in one part of town one day of the week, and then as the week progresses, find my way all the way from the East End to the West End so that I'm not bouncing around.
Yeah.
So it's been exciting trying to plan this out, and super excited every time someone pokes me and say, hey, tell me more. It's like, I'd love to tell you more. I'm super excited about this.
Well, it's not going to start to happen. I mean, my wife came home last night, and a guy who lives in a country town near us said, "Oh, look, he drove to Adelaide, 12 hours, drove to Adelaide, and he did 2 sessions." This is a horrific story. So he drove to 12 hours to this Adelaide, which is the capital of South Australia, and he was in Warrnambool, which is 4 hours from us, but probably about 8 hours for him, because Adelaide's 12 hours drive. He gets there, 2 sessions planned, 100 people booked, no one, zero people attended, 0. And he's talking, he looks at the organizer and said, like, I just spent 8 hours in the car to come here. I just spent 8 hours in the car. Got to stay overnight. And you said there were people coming, and there's no one coming. There's no one here. What happened? Well, they said they were coming. And we've all had that experience. We've all had that experience where things are supposed to go ahead and they never do. So, in fact, the line from that song that we wrote, which we might play in a minute, is the audience here? They better be. It's a day they'll never forget. But the phrase, is the audience here, comes from our experience where, we do all this work and we get on the other side and there's no one there. So you're trying now to mitigate that process to say, look, I don't mind zipping up to Peterborough, but why don't I go halfway and meet someone in Coburg or Durham, or I'm just throwing words out now, why don't I just meet a couple of people halfway? So if I get all that way and they don't turn up because they're sick or the kids at school or the car broke down or something, then I haven't wasted the trip, right?
Not only that, but imagine showing up and yes, there may not be anyone, but you can still have the conversation and turn those assets, repurpose those assets into more meaningful content than what we're seeing today, where people are just putting up a Canva with an overlay and, hey, here's a key message, and they chalk that up as content. I think we're onto something where if we can take real live events and turn them, with social selling as being part of the conversation, and then the social proof in the repurposing, demonstrating what transpired leading up to the event, at the actual event, and post-event. Listen, I think we have an excellent value proposition that people will consume because people want to buy from others they like, know, and trust.
I love this discussion, and many people, including Serena, have said, "Look, Keith, are you getting any kudos from this? Is it working?" So, can you explain, Serena, how you promote your content, and do you have any stats on how that's working for you, or are you happy to promote it because it's a sort of a community benefit?
When you talk about content, I presume you're talking about the podcast. So yes, I do promote it across my socials. I don't always track. Once in a while, I look at listen notes and see where the ranking is, whether the listen score has got higher over time. And very, very recently, I looked in again, and it's now in the top 5% of podcasts worldwide. So that it gives me an indication that there are more people listening.
Hey, we love you, Serena. We love you.
Thank you.
So there it is. So
yes,
you're in the top 5% in your field for podcasts in that area. That's the sort of thing we want to know. It doesn't matter that it's top 5%, it could be top 10%, but the point is you want to know that your efforts are working. And if they're not, that's okay. You can do something else. So this is why we're always tracking and always measuring what we're doing, because it's just so important. And I think it was you who asked, are you getting any benefit from these calls? Well, I mean, I've got people calling in from all over the world, and I'm getting people calling me all day, or DMing me all day. So my ROI is engagement, because I'm an extrovert. It's like food for me. So my ROI is off the charts. But it's very, very interesting that we convert that into a dollar figure for people that are doing this for a business. And I think, America, we are onto this, aren't we? We're onto this idea.
Yeah, absolutely. We're actually starting to see, and I demonstrated, and I don't have any issue. It's actually quite rewarding to see others kind of take what we're doing and coming up with their own iteration and nuances. And we all know there's the saying where, what is it? Mimicry has
Mimicry is the ultimate form of flattery.
yes, it's the ultimate form of flattery. And when people reach out to me and say, "Hey, can you take a look at this person's profile?" I think they're copying what you're doing because it's working for you, and now they want some of that. Hey, there's enough to go around for everyone. I'm humbled. I'm flattered. I don't think that I'm a high stakes performer and I have to threaten anyone with lawsuits. Listen, this is an idea.
This
And
is
we're
actually a
building-
very good point. When you get to a point, Americo, and you and I are probably at this point, you know, we have been around the block so many times that we've seen every variation known to mankind, humankind. And someone said to me about 2 years ago, "Oh, mate, you've got an ebook." Well, I've got an ebook. I think you stole my idea. What? Like an ebook? You thought of it. Like you thought of the idea of an ebook as a funnel. Like it's 2022. How long you been around? I've been doing this since 2006 and it was an idea then. I didn't steal it from anyone. It's been going around since probably 1998. No. I've never seen this before. You stole my idea. She went really hard. Like I lost friends out of this. And all right, well, look, if you think I stole your idea, that you'll have to live with that, and I'll have to live with it. And we're no longer friends, and several friends of hers are no longer friends. I said, well, that's just the way it goes. So yeah, flattery by mimicry is the ultimate form. I mean, nothing would give me greater joy. I haven't seen one. Please tell me if you've seen them, but I haven't seen anyone doing this. I haven't seen anyone doing these audio shows. I mean, I'm the only one I know that's doing them because everyone wants to have their face on camera, and I get that because that's what people want you to do. But I just want to go to market with this look, and it's unique. And these 4-hour shows, I don't see people doing those. But I wouldn't be offended if other people did it. It's not a unique idea. I'm just a person.
That's right.
So it's very, very cool. Very, very, very cool. Now, Bez, just jump in if you're free. And I've played the Rooster game well enough. I've embarrassed you too much already. If you're there, I would love to hear what your Behringer 8500 sound like. And if you're not there, that's okay, because I want to hear from Americo about what he's getting. What are you getting us? What are we getting when you finally get these mics? Did you find something?
I found, so I have the Behringer, what is it, LC84s on back order, and whenever they arrive, I'll take them graciously. But I was visiting the website Temu.com, and there's a lot of tech there at reasonable prices. And now I don't know if they're refurbished. I don't know if they're knockoffs or factory defects. But for $20 or 24 with tax and shipping, I'm getting some SM28s, or what they're calling SM28 58s coming to my door. I was expecting a shipment today. Nothing showed up.
So Temu ships to Canada now.
Yeah, so Temu ships to Canada now.
Wow. I think that's a Chinese company. It's like a Chinese version of Amazon. I'm pretty sure, I'm pretty confident it's not an SM58.
I'm almost
But
guaranteeing
let's see if we
not
can
an
tell the
SM58.
difference. Wouldn't that be a fantastic discussion? You've got an SM58. It costs you $120. Temu has a knockoff. If you notice the sound, the actual numbers are different, like the configuration of the numbers. SM in uppercase 58, the original Shaw 58 from 1958. That's why it was invented. That's what it means. 1958. Elvis probably used this mic. So that's how old it is. It's a standard. So SM in capital letters 58. But Temu, I think, has created a variation on that. I don't know how they got away with it. I've actually told some friends at Shure about this. I don't know how they got away with it, but it's a Chinese knockoff. But for $20, let's see if we put them back to back, because this is the coolest thing about this show. This gadget has room for 4 mics, so you can actually put both of them in at one time, have all the settings the same, and we can then go, okay, this is the Temu version, this is the Shure version. Can you tell the difference? And would you pay $100 for that? This is going to be fascinating. I did see them. I was aware that they did them, and I actually contacted Shure about this because it's clearly a knockoff. I'm just looking for it now. Yeah, see, with the SM58 from Temu, it's lowercase SM. But they come in a nice little case. And
yes, they do.
Funky. Why would they're $30 as opposed to $130? I mean, it's hard to justify, except that it's theft. But we'll see. We'll see. Let's have a look. Let's have a see. We've got yeah.
If anything, it'll be great conversation, great banter for another episode of the audio sound check.
And is it just the one, or you get a couple at that price? Or
no, I'm getting a couple at that price coming in.
Yeah. So we got a couple of people. This is exactly what we do here, Serena. Look at this. So Robert's in Virginia. Sharon, I'll just check on where Sharon is. And Anchor is in India. So we've got Australia, America, Canada. We've got India. And we have people from all over the world on this show, and they all have slightly different variations. It's very, very, very early in India there. So thanks for calling in, Anchor. If you want to come in, you can. You're very welcome. We can have up to 6 people on the call. And Sharon, I don't know where you are in the world. Now, this is a very good chance to do the original experiment with Bez. I'm going to go back to Bez and keep trying. Where are you calling in from? And what is your LinkedIn account? So let's all connect with each other and do that, because that's what it's about. Very, very, very exciting. Are you there yet, Bez? What's going on? Are you having some trouble with your tech? I'm not really quite sure what's going on there. As a host, I've got to ad lib. This is the part about live that I see why people don't do it. If a guest doesn't turn up or they can't get in, you suck. You're sort of sitting there, what we call talking to the rooster. I've got to make this up. Hello, Bez, are you there? I'm really trying hard to get in, but my computer's broken. All right, well, we'll try again in a few minutes. Is that all right? Yeah, bear with me. I am trying hard. I'm trying hard, mate. Give me a go. All right, there it is. We've solved the problem. Bez can come in when he can. I don't know what's going on, but I think his computer's playing up on him. So this is the power, the fun of live, but it's also the challenge of live, because you call upon a guest and they're not there. You got to make it up. But I want to bring Serena back in this. Tell us about the power of podcasting. I used to do it years and years ago. I haven't done it for a while. For those that are not podcasting, what is the joy in interviewing someone and getting that out? Tell us that process, because I know a lot of people are interested in podcasting, and I'd love to hear how you do it.
Do you mean the process itself, Keith?
Yeah, the process.
Right. So I have a structure for the way I do things. So when someone reaches out to say, I want to come on the podcast, I have a look at their profile. Usually they would have sent through a pitch or their bio or something. And then I think about where the alignment might be with the Quiet Warrior ethos. And if I think that there's a possibility that we could have a good conversation that's beneficial to the introverted listeners, then I would set up a pre-interview call. That's a Zoom call, and we'll have a half-hour chat about their talking points, their story, what are they currently working on, what's inspiring them, how have they overcome some of their introvert challenges maybe, and what is something they want to share with the audience that would be helpful. And of course, to end with spotlighting, how to connect with them, and what is the current project, or let's say they've got a book launch coming up, we want to spotlight that as well. So it's a win-win kind of a thing. And then once that pre-interview is done, I send them a follow-up email confirming what the talking points are, and set up a time for them to book in, and then we have the actual interview.
Yeah, this is really powerful. Once you have the interview, what do you do next, and what other goodies do you do? I know you release them on Sunday mornings, but where do they go? Do they go onto a blog, or do they just go onto a post on LinkedIn? What's the next step after the interview comes out?
Yeah. So usually when it comes out, I would post it on LinkedIn and on my other socials, and I would create 1 or 2 visual sound bites. I use Buzzsprout, and so they make that quite easy. So maybe a 30-second or a 60-second sound bite, and I'll share that on a Sunday. But over the course of the 2 weeks after the podcast goes live, I would talk about it on my various platforms. I would also include it in my blog on the website, as well as in my newsletter to my list. So it goes out in a couple of forms, and then after a couple of weeks, I would circle back, depending on what I see on LinkedIn, I would find another way to not necessarily post directly about it, but I might point people to it if I hear something come up in a conversation, or sometimes talking to my own introvert community as well. They might ask a question on the Zoom call, and I'll say, go listen to episode 58 of my podcast because I talked to somebody about that. And then I send them the link. And that's another way it goes out.
The coolest thing about having content of your own is when someone says, do you know anything about ... Well, you know what? I do. I had a really good guest talking about that about 3 weeks ago. So rather than me rabbiting on about this, I'm just going to send you that podcast, which is purpose built for your needs. It's genius, isn't it? It's a really clever idea, I think.
It's so good. It's just having this ready database of resources that I can just dispense, and I don't even have to show my face.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's good. Let's run the room on this idea of podcasting versus live streaming. Serena pre-records an interview, even goes a step further and does a pre-interview interview to make sure there's a synergy in what the person wants to speak about. Then she records the interview and then puts it on her socials, and then it keeps living a life. Let's have a chat about this with Americo and Lynn and Bez. How do you imagine doing this, Americo? Have you ever had a podcast where you pre-recorded things, or are you starting to explore that?
Well, I'm taking the audio. I'm stripping the audio from my live events and repurposing it. We touched on this in our last episode, how we can now embed the audio from our events on our Substacks. So that's the extent in which I'm doing or sharing this content. In terms of podcasting, I have set up a creator account on Spotify. Haven't published anything just yet, but it is ready to go. And I'm fascinated with what I'm learning here tonight, because it sounds very similar to what I'm doing in terms of showing up in different channels and trying to offer a seamless experience. I've now realized that my email list is there more for just vanity. It just keeps everyone informed. So those who choose to open it, they're going to get some insight on upcoming guests, upcoming shows, or previous events, and get directed to my Substack long form articles. So I'm not using that to pitch. It's purely to share my narrative in a different format.
I love this. And America, while I've got you, have you worked out which sites are working best and which sites aren't working at all?
So last week I put up 3 headstones, one for TikTok, one for my Facebook business account, and one for X. I was showing up and I seem to have been talking to myself each time I showed up. So it was better serve other communities. It just wasn't serving my community. I thought that I could show up, and those who resonate with me would kind of fall in love with what I was sharing, and it never happened.
Yeah,
And you know
look,
what? You try, and you have to, there's no shame in trying, but to keep my arms crossed and having hope as my strategy that things would change, there's no point in spending that time, effort, and energy. I'd rather reinvest it in other assets and in other areas.
I think this is an incredibly important point, especially for solopreneurs. We don't have the luxury of being able to go everywhere for everyone. So I constantly, I'm checking to see which ones are working. LinkedIn is working well. Email is not. I send emails almost like a courtesy once a week. Just in case you one day want to come to my show, this is the link to the show. I know you never click it and you never come, but I'm just going to keep doing it. Right? And never, ever, ever do people come to my show via my email. But I just keep doing it almost as a courtesy to them. But with LinkedIn, we have a thumping time. Like, we are really thumping it. And I meet new people all the time, and people are really interested in it. And LinkedIn itself has 1 billion users, 1.2 billion users. So it's worth getting good at it. It's worth getting really, really, really good at it. Serena, while I got you, have you worked out which of the sites you try work well? Which of the social sites work best for you?
LinkedIn works best for me at the moment. It's where the professionals live. So I find much better engagement, quality engagement as well, than Facebook and Instagram.
Yeah, and you mentioned a key word there, quality.
Hmm.
It's not about numbers. It's you get a better engagement ratio by you hanging out on LinkedIn than you do on Facebook, yeah?
Yes, definitely.
Yeah. Well, I think that would be universally the case now, although I'm really interested in talking about this. What about you, Lynn? Have you worked out where your sweet spot is?
Well, I definitely am going to say it's LinkedIn because that is, that's where I like to be. But that's where this and Substack, I think potentially is going to be another spot. I am still open though to some other. I'm still open to YouTube, and when I do have some future things that I have upcoming that I may um, throw on there, and all of them. Substack and LinkedIn, Facebook and Instagram. I do, I keep those because for my purpose, that's where your family and friends are. And so, I have to keep that going in that that neighborhood, kind of that Facebook neighborhood community, because that does work for me. And I have booked clients that way through the neighborhood, Facebook neighborhood. And also the next door that Americo talked about, that is another place that
We don't have that here. What is that? Nextdoor.com?
yeah, it's your local neighborhood. So it's who's next door to you. It's what's going on. It's whatever's going on in your neighborhood. That's
Yeah.
kind of like a Facebook neighborhood, but it's another neighborhood. Um, you know,
Yeah, so there's a
it's
lot of small business interaction, a lot of BNI style groups, and local residents who, anecdotally, we hear this, hey, my roof is leaking. Does anybody know a roofer who can replace a few shingles?
Mhm.
And that's where people come out and ask the
Google
community
product.
questions.
It's a Google product.
It mimics Google. It probably mimics a combination of different platforms, Facebook Marketplace. So you can host events, your yard sale, you want to buy and sell stuff, and realtors use it, small businesses use it. There's events, there's sales. So it's pretty vibrant. So if you're really big on local and working with the local communities or surrounding areas. It's huge across Canada and the U.S.
Mhm.
Well, apparently Serena has noticed that it is in fact popular here, and they even have an app. Can you tell us about this? I until America would send it to me, I'd never heard of it.
I'm looking at it as we speak, Keith, and it's similar to Facebook Marketplace. It's you does someone need mowing? Does someone recommend a good plumber? I've got a problem with my dishwasher. Yeah, so it's great for the local
Mhm.
community.
Yeah, okay. So it's like a local version, and it is a Google product. So picking up on that, Lynn is a travel agent. It makes sense that you'd have a lot of local people saying, "Hey, can you help me book a cruise? I'm a bit stressed out. I want to just hang out by the pool for 3 weeks and go to the Caribbean. Can you do that for me?"
Yeah, that's what I'm working on right now. As a
That's
matter of
right.
fact.
I just need to get away. Now you're coming into summer. We've just come out of winter. My wife and I, inspired by Americo's road trip, we have now created. Well, I have. It's not till next year. She said, "Keith, I'm sick of Australian winters. I'm really, really sick of Australian winters." That sounds pretty silly because it gets like down to zero. Next year in the winter, our winter, can we go up the coast, please? Yep, we can. Now, but this is really funny because I thought we would go to the coast, Merimbula or Eden, which is like just on the border of New South Wales, get there and then go up the coast. And she says, no, I want to go to the warmest weather the fastest. Right. So I Googled it. I Googled where is the warmest weather in winter, and Newcastle, which is a 10-hour drive, it's 22 every day, 22 degrees Celsius. So we worked out this road trip that we're going to go from Melbourne to Newcastle over a couple of days because I hate driving, maybe 3 or 4 hours, and then stop, have lunch, walk around, maybe stay overnight. But I think she wants to go faster than me. And then we're going to go to Coffs Harbour, and then we're going to go to Byron Bay, maybe, or Tweed Heads, or some really warm location in Queensland. So this sort of local thing would be very, very, very cool. Imagine if you're on nextdoor.com and you says, okay, we're going to Coffs Harbour. Is there a cool restaurant in Coffs Harbour that has vegetarian food? I'm thinking is this what it would work like? Do you think?
Yeah.
America? Yeah. We're in Coffs Harbour and we're heading to Byron Bay, and we'll be there about dinner time. We need a bed to stay in, and we need a restaurant. Is that the sort of thing that stuff does?
From a search perspective, you probably wouldn't get real-time search results. That you'd probably still want to use Google. But if you're reaching out, hey, we're going to be in Byron Bay on this date, does anyone recommend any vegetarian restaurants? Then the community jumps in saying, here.
It's more it's not a search function, it's more a community function.
That's right. And then respondents from that community will suggest and give you real-time advice. Here's where you want to stop. Here's where you want to stay overnight. Here's where what you might want to avoid based on their local experience.
Oh man, this is good. This is very, very good. Are you using any of this stuff, Bez? Do you use any of these really cool apps now?
Nextdoor, I don't. I mean, I've been invited, and I'm just not. I've got plenty of apps that I'm on, and I don't need another one, right? And I don't know. Facebook is enough, I don't.
Wow, that is a
yeah.
T-shirt. I'm going to put that on a T-shirt.
What?
Facebook is enough. Man,
I know.
that is a show. That's a song. Facebook is enough. We've got too many apps to try. Facebook is enough. It's gonna
mean, if you
make
want,
my face really dry.
I mean, if you like here in where I live, they've got like 3 or 4. They're like the community bulletin board oh my goodness, I can't even go on there because it's so people will people aren't nice. And then now in this it's just
Yeah.
crazy. So what I've done is, you know what I did on Facebook? Um, I created a group, and actually it was out of a joke, because our Rotary president that was outgoing, you usually have an end of the year party, and for whatever reason, the board, her board decided, when she wasn't there for the last board meeting, she had to go to a doctor's appointment. Decided, oh, we'll have it in July. No, you don't do that in Rotary, man. The president works really hard, and they just sort of like, oh, not a big. I'm going. It is a big deal. You don't do that. So I decided to. I told her we're going to have a party for you outside of our club, and I said, and she goes, well, who's going to put it on? Well, I on the flight said, well, the good people of Northeast Georgia and a few good Rotarians. And we had a good laugh. Well, I went and created a Facebook group, and the whole vibe of the group is just to support and uplift each other. No politics, no nothing. It has to be positive. You can promote your business if you want. I don't care. And I've got like a little bit over 300 people there, and I'm just trying to a positive vibe. I don't need no community bulletin board to know all the bad things. That's anyways. There's plenty of Facebook's enough, I guess. I don't need another.
That was a good idea that you did that. A positive space. I like that. That's cool.
Yeah, it actually took off, and um, you know, I just it was funny. It was funny because it started as a joke, but then when we did the flyer, I had to have a Facebook group for the flyer. Like it had to be legit, at least Scooby Doo legit, right? And so I went really quick and made a Facebook group on Facebook.
I love
And
what
called
you
it the
said
same
there.
thing.
We've just had a call from the audience. Have you ever heard of Moose? Just in case you've never heard of Moose, Moose is Zoom spelt backwards. Right. It's a new kid
Oh,
on the block. It's bloody good. It's good. Moose.pro. It's not .com. It's designed for music interaction. So it's real
oh,
time. There's no lag. It's designed for music teachers. So Moose.pro is a direct competitor to zoom.com. And it's a bit of a play on words. Moose is Zoom spelt backwards. That's how I can remember it. And it's
right.
good. It's really good. Has anyone heard of this? Do you want to pick up on this? It's a bit of new news for the group. Have you
I've
heard of this?
never heard of it.
Oh,
No, I'm gonna go there right now.
Moose.pro. Very high quality, deliberately designed for coaches who are sick of that lag. That lag. Or, hello, are you there? I can't hear you. There's a bit of a delay. Oh shit, I can't hear you. So Moose.pro is very, very good. I think it's a similar price. I'll go and have a look. Have you heard of this one, Jessica? Serena?
Nope, haven't heard of it.
Yeah. Now, this is a very, very good example of what this show's about. We haven't even got to Substack in a minute. I've got some killer news about Substack just going to blow you away. So wait for that in a few minutes. Just pray, but it's coming. It's coming. But Moose.pro is designed for all those people that have tried to do music related or sound related products. And there's this incredible lag, this incredible echo, right? We're so pissed off with it. Anyway, most people are pissed off with Zoom. So has anyone heard of it? Because I'm happy to rant about it because I know a lot about it. Have you heard of it, America?
I have not.
And don't you just love how we're doing this like live? Like we're just sharing the love live. We're learning. This is why this show is so good. This show is so good. This show is so good because we learn from each other in real time. Yeah. Real time. People in the audience suggest ideas. We pick up on them. We look at them. Moose is a very, very, very robust alternative to Zoom. There is a free version. I'm just reading it now. The free version means that the this is the key factor: no, unlimited lesson times. So what happens with Moose is it gets rid of that 40-minute window. That was always the clincher, wasn't it? You know, with
Mhm.
Zoom, you can have unlimited meetings, but you have to stop them after 40 minutes, and you get this little daggy sign, "Do you want to upgrade?" And then, you know, the person on the other side is going, "Oh, what a cheapskate. You're using the free version." Sorry. Sorry, we've got to start again. Oh, hang on. That's a good chance. There's someone at the door. I better go. No, you kill the flow, right? So unlimited lesson plans, unlimited individual students, better than video call audio. Um, anyway, lots and lots and lots and lots and lots of cool features. Then for $40 a month, which is a little bit expensive, you get extra goodies. So I reckon it's worth trying. I've just sent it to you all in the back channel. Has anyone got any comments about Zoom? I'm a bit sick of Zoom. I haven't used it for a year. You still obviously love it, Serena. It does the job.
It does the job. I love it.
Yeah, okay. Because
You
the
can
other one,
actually
yeah, you go
you can
best.
actually if you're doing music, they do have settings for music and it tell you how to set it up. Now, so it can, but you have to configure it correctly. It has a lot of features. It's just a lot of people just bring it out of the box and use the vanilla, and you get what you get. But you can, there's some things you can do, and at least for me, from having a secure business meeting and control that, and like again, that's how I control did my podcast, right, until I just got StreamYard. So other than that, eventually I'm going to move over to StreamYard now because that's a higher quality. But Zoom wasn't perfect, but it did the job. Now this other one, yeah, Riverside FM. You're talking about Riverside FM, Riverside, not .com. Am I correct on that?
Yeah, Riverside.com is actually a real estate agent in a suburb of some town called Riverside.
Yeah, there's a Riverside in California that is next to San Bernardino. Now, it's not the only Riverside in the United States, and I'm sure there's other places called Riverside.
They do actually. They did get the .com now. They were clever. They got the .com. So they got it. So it is indeed Riverside.com. So the power there, the power with it, very, very, very cool. The power of Riverside, as opposed to Zoom, is that you get the files separated. So the host and the guest are separated. So if the dog barks on the guest side, it doesn't come out on your side. So you only have to fix their side. Now that's one advantage. The quality is superior. But the thing about Zoom is that everyone in the world, including my dad, who's 88 years old, has heard of Zoom. So there is this comfort factor. If you're interviewing a guest who's not familiar with this stuff, oh no, what do I do? What do I just click the button and you're in? Oh, is that it? That's all. Yep. Click and go. So Zoom has that sort of familiarity for guests. So if you're interviewing someone who is not familiar with this stuff, it's much more easier. It's for them, much more easier. Using my sort of year 7 English. So I can see why people use it, but there are alternatives. They're not necessarily better, but they are definitely there. And this is exactly what we talk about. Now, Bez, you may not know this, and this is a hot off the press because you've just mentioned
StreamYard,
StreamYard.
Riverside.
That's right. Seniors moment. So StreamYard is an extraordinary piece of tech for people that want to go live.
Mm-hmm.
Who want to go live again? And the song says, you weren't sure that it was going to work, but now you want to go live again. So anyway, I'm just quoting all my own songs. But StreamYard, you've done it. You've got StreamYard.com now. Tell us about it. How does it differ to Restream? And can you do what's called RTMP?
Yes.
So tell us
So-
about StreamYard and why you love it.
Well, the I'm on a Teams account, so that means that there's 10 of us that are on it. And so it's quite pricey, but when you break it down and everybody comes in on the account, it's like what, $25 a month for each of us, or $300 a year, which isn't bad, you know. And so my account allows me to, if let's say I'm doing a podcast or a recording, right? I'm in, you know, so the do what Riverside does, where it'll do the ISO and it'll download everything in real time to your computer, your hard drive, and then it'll buffer and upload it to the cloud, and it gives it to whoever's the owner of the StreamYard account, which would be myself. And then I can put a 4K quality type of recording together, right? So it gives you that. So it doesn't matter if your internet's bad or whatever. It'll the bits and bytes will eventually get together. Now, that's the thing about Zoom, is that sometimes someone's internet gets wonky, or they may be using Wi-Fi, and which I don't use Wi-Fi, even though I have it. I plug my laptop in. I have a whole setup. I like to be hardwired. But sometimes your guest is using Wi-Fi, because a lot of laptops these days, they don't even have an Ethernet port cord. You have to get a dongle, or what they call a hub or something. So there's a few things you've got to do to make that happen, because laptops don't have a Ethernet adapter anymore. So, anyways, I like it because of that. It's got other features. It does have RTMP, and I can stream to multiple places. And I believe I can also do Instagram, but Instagram's a little wonky, because you have to start it here and then start it there. But I believe, because it has RTMP, I can also stream to Substack.
Yeah, and
With
this is the exact question I knew. I was leading you there. I was leading you there. Come
Mhm.
in, spinner. So, the what RTMP means, which actually stands for real time message protocol, what that really means is, if the provider that you have doesn't give you a button for the site you like, there is a protocol on the internet that allows you to go into the site you want whenever a site is invented, it's brand new or whatever. You go in the back end, you get a little code. That's quite complex to do, but any site on the internet you could probably stream your site to. It's called RTMP. Now, we've just discovered, and we're very excited, we've just discovered that Substack now has this feature. Now, we've talked about Substack a lot on this show, but I'll take a step back. Have you heard about Substack, Serena?
Yes, I have. I know quite a few people who are leaving LinkedIn to go onto Substack.
So, yeah, so Substack is really an amazing site. We are as a group exploring its power, and it's fundamentally a blogging site. It started life as a blogging site, written words, but it's starting to build very substantially now. And now, just recently, a few of us have decided that we can now live stream our show into Substack. Right. Now, can you explain how you might do that, Bez? You've obviously mentioned it, so you understand how to do it. Have you tried it?
I haven't tried it yet, but you have to go get the key and make sure that and on Substack there's a URL, and then there's one is a static server or IP address. The other one is not. It's dynamic. So there, you've got to make sure you put the right one in the right box with, or in the right place with StreamYard. So it's just, you know, knowing a little bit about that. Once you got it, you can do it. But yeah, I haven't actually done it yet, but I'm looking at all the, you know, making sure that when I do it, I do it correctly. And yeah, I'll probably do some test live streams. And then I'll probably on Friday do a really, because I set up my YouTube channel for where I want to live stream, which is the Leverage Career Collective. So I set, its own, put its own graphic and stuff. So I started to build that out, and then I'll do a live stream there. I'll do it on LinkedIn. I'll do it. Yeah, I'll do it wherever I can. It's funny that some places you can't go live, like on my LinkedIn page, because I don't have 150 followers. So I got to build that up. But
Okay.
yeah.
Well, Serena's been very, very generous with the time. It's almost an hour and a half, Serena. You're surprised yourself, right?
I have indeed. I'm
See,
shocked.
see how the
Shocked
time
and
flies.
speechless.
The time just flies when we're all talking together, doesn't it?
Yes, especially when I'm listening and other
Yeah.
people are talking.
Yeah, we learn so much. So you go. Tell us a little bit about what you do and how we can find you and your podcast and how we can help you promote it.
Well, thank you for that. The Quiet Warrior podcast is on all podcasting apps. You can find it on Apple, Spotify, and all the others. Uh, what was the other thing you said?
Or how can we help you promote it? I mean, so it's called the
Oh,
Quiet Warrior Podcast.
yes. Well, I think the best thing is if you listen to an episode on a topic that's appealing to you, or that's something you're curious about and you like it, then you can just share the word. It's a bit hard to talk about something if you've never listened to it and you don't, you're not convinced that it's any good. So I always encourage people to listen to an
Yeah.
episode first. Yeah.
That is great. My friend Sarah was on Serena's podcast, and she's very big on journaling. Right? So she talked a lot about journaling from the point of view of getting the words out on the page, and that helps you decipher what's going on in the world and in your mind. It was a fascinating podcast, just fascinating. And that got me into that realm. It got me into the realm of what your podcast is about.
Mhm.
And so that's a good point. So it's called the Quiet Warrior Podcast. It's available on wherever good books are sold, wherever good podcasts are found. Just find your local your local setup, and we can support you. And you've now been introduced to the community, and you can see why I love it. It's very addictive. We talk about lots of different things. We learn so much, and I don't even know what's going on some of the time, but I make it up, and I seem to be able to make sense of it.
It's amazing what you've created here, Keith.
Yeah, thanks so much.
Yes.
So go and do your thing, and say hello to Sarah for me, and
I will.
come tomorrow if you want to. But you've done the sound check today, and tomorrow we're talking all about who, not how, and the idea of outsourcing versus AI, and it's going to be a great show. Just going to
I'm sure it will.
yeah. So
Serena,
you go and
before
do-
you go,
Yes.
drop your
my
LinkedIn
LinkedIn.
handle
That's
either
right.
in the comments or in the private chat. I'd love to connect
Okay.
with you.
Let me drop that in a private chat right now. Okay.
Same
Thank you,
here.
everyone. Lovely to meet you all. See you next
Yes,
time.
same here.
see you later.
Good night.
Good night.
Now this is a good example of why our show is so good. Serena lives in Melbourne. We've never met, but she's a very good friend of another. She's a very good friend of another good friend of mine who I've never met. But I don't have to meet them to be friends. Like we've actually never met. She works on the other side of the town, and I've never been there. So, but we have lots in common, and we're always chatting. So, Americo, for instance, Serena would be just an awesome guest for your show, wouldn't she?
She would. So connect with her and take the conversation offline.
Yeah. So, Bez, while you were probably fiddling about, and I that is horrifying that I really rode you a bit hard there. But what was happening with
You rode me hard.
well,
I didn't even know.
well, we were playing the rooster a bit, and where are you, and what's going on, and hang on, what's going on with your computer? But what we found was we were originally going to get some Behringers for Americo, but he
Okay.
found a site that has a knockoff SM58 for $20.
Oh wow.
Now, it could be glorified theft. It's like I don't know if you've ever been to Bali or the Philippines or Thailand. There must be an equivalent on that side of the world, maybe Mexico, I guess, or I don't know. But you go to a market and you're going, hang on, this is the latest Bon Jovi album, and it's $10. That can't be right. And you get it home and it sounds terrible, and they photocopied the cover, and you think, oh well, what it was $10. Do they have that equivalent there over that side in Mexico, maybe, or the Caribbean? They have these cheap markets where they do all these knockoffs.
Look, they do knockoffs in LA of all the fashion brands, like well, usually stuff gets imported, into the United States, and they sell knockoffs. So very good knockoffs too. But you have to be careful because especially in luxury brands, they're serious about that, and they'll come after you. Um, but you can go. I mean, look, people aren't buying CDs and cassettes anymore. They're getting everything off the internet. So that market's pretty much dried up, knockoff CDs or things because people can listen to Spotify for free, right?
Yeah.
And so I don't think, I think you'll see knockoffs in other areas or maybe just even authentic products. So it's the knockoffs really come from the Far East. That's where you really see because they're cheap. They make them really really good, and that's how people, where they get them. So
Yeah. So what's happened here? You may have been offline when this happened, but Temu, Temu, is a sort of a Chinese version of Amazon, and they have got an SM58 for $20. Right? Now, SM in capital letters 58 is the Shaw version. I saw this recently, and I actually contacted Shaw about this. And so the Temu version, which is SM little letters, SM58, is no. I can't wait for them to arrive as a pure experiment. My gut feeling is they'll be different because Americo's got an SM58. So he'll be able to do a direct. That is going to be a very good show, and with a bit of luck, it might be ready for next week, which is the "What mic do you use?" show. Do you reckon you might have it by next week?
Well, as of my last email alert, I'll tell you exactly when they're scheduled to come in.
I'll tell you this while he's doing that. My wife loves Temu and she orders it from all the time. And, she loves it. She gets all these things. And, but Amazon's gone on and now competing with them. They have their own Temu. I think it's called Amazon Hall. Is it called Amazon Hall? I can't remember.
It's
That's a big
super
one now.
cheap, isn't it? It's just like it's real. It's almost junk, isn't it? Okay, is that fair? Is that a fair comment? It's almost junk.
Well, it depends. I mean, a lot of the stuff you buy is junk. You go to a dollar store, don't tell, and you pick up something and look, you'd be surprised. Yeah, I haven't had, yeah, I'm not going to buy an small SM 58.
Well, there's no harm. It'll be a $20 experiment.
Oh, okay.
The delivery window is September 24th to October 3rd. So it could be here as early as Wednesday and as late as October 3rd. So hopefully it will arrive in time. I still have my Behringers. I still got that order placed. So they're still coming in whenever they replenish their stock. But we're going to see. Is $20, is the $20 sound noticeable? And can I get by with the $20 sound until the Behringers arrive for this road trip? I just want to start booking events, and I need some kind of tech.
Mm-hmm. We're talking now about Americo's road trip, and this idea that now you may have missed this, but he's now targeting real estate agents, what we call real estate agents, what you call realtors. And this would be an extremely good use of live streaming. A live streaming a show about a house that's available for sale today, and people listening can go and visit that today. And imagine the visuals of, and I'll just say, here's the kitchen. of this wonderful house. It's so cool, and it's near the beach, and they've got a really lovely lounge room, and it's lovely and warm, and it's got big windows, and oh, you're just going to have so much fun. So come down and have a chat to us. We're sitting there on the kitchen table on our laptop right now. Come and have a chat to us. Imagine doing that, America. Imagine I can do it.
which
I'm with you. I'm with you.
which is different than what they're currently doing. And kudos to them. You know, they have their YouTube channels, and each property has a YouTube listing, and they're on Instagram recording the properties that they're representing. But by the time that gets to someone's feed and someone is interested and they pick up the phone, that property could be gone. So if you reverse engineer your marketing strategy, hey, we're going to be live on this date, and we're going to be showing XYZ address in this town. And if you want to join us live, if you have questions, feel free, join us. Well, we're prepared. We're ready to answer those questions in real time. Yeah, I totally see this working. Now, hopefully someone else would see this working just as well. But I'm having fun. Listen, I'm not giving up on it. There are a few industries that would benefit from this, and I'm going to try to help those industries.
Yeah, this is an extremely good example. It's an extremely good example of where live streaming would work, especially Restream that's very visual. Like you could say, and you would do this, you would prepare some really lovely graphics. This is the kitchen area. This is the lounge room. Here's the backyard. Here's the beach that it's nearby. Here's the shops. Here's the school. So you're drawing people in to go, okay, well, there's a house for sale. Let's have a look at the house, but let's have a look at the surrounding area, because you're not only buying the house. Like we live 10 minutes from the beach and a 10-minute walk to the primary school, and there's a 10-minute walk to the kindergarten, and there's a lawn bowls thing, and there's a soccer ground, and there's a velodrome, and there's a cafe. And that's what you're buying. You're buying a house near a cafe. It's a house. You have to be happy with the house, but you're not buying only the house. You're buying the idea of where you're living. Correct me if I'm wrong. I mean, if I was to buy a house again, and we did this exactly, I would buy a house based on what we get when we're nearby. I know a lot of people just buy the biggest house they can, and it's like 50 k's from the nearest town. I mean, I'm not doing that. I want to be able to walk to the beach or go and grab a coffee, or know that, there's a primary school or a bowls lawn or a velodrome or a soccer field. We got everything here. Like we've got every single conceivable thing that you need right in this suburb. I'm so proud. And we did that work. And you could demonstrate that on a stream. I don't know if this is how you're taking this, but just imagine. So good.
Yeah, absolutely. You can then, you can keep your YouTube clips, and you can keep your Instagram as part of your strategy, but do it from a repurposing perspective, where you're not just recording yourself walking through a property by yourself. You're now using those digital assets from the live event that you hosted.
Am I correct, though? I mean, am I off target here? Do you think you're buying the area, or are you simply buying the house? What do you think?
No, you're definitely buying the area. You're buying more than a home. You're buying into the neighborhood. Some people, they're at different stages in their lives, and perhaps they want a more mature area with less young kids running around. So it's really important. People, you might fall in love with the house and then show up and realize, yeah, this isn't going to work. Like, this is going to keep me up all night. This is going to keep me, prevent me from doing whatever it is it might be preventing me. Aesthetically, it looks pleasing. It's beautiful property, but it may not fit.
Yeah, I love this idea. I remember once we went away for the weekend, and we booked it online, and it was just this really cutesy little apartment, really near the water. And we got there on a Thursday night. The Friday was a public holiday, and there was a disco next door. And I'm thinking, no, it's a Thursday night. Okay, we're here for Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, all weekend nights. Had Friday off, Monday off. And every night at 9 o'clock, the disco would start and go till 3 a.m. Right? Now, it didn't matter that the house was nice. We couldn't bloody sleep. And this is exactly what you're talking about, America, isn't it? It doesn't matter how nice
Absolutely.
the house is. You've got to have. You're living you're buying an area. Correct me if I'm wrong, but this is how I would buy a house from now on if I did it. How close are the cafes? How close is the school? Can I play soccer on the weekends? Can I ride my bike somewhere? Where we live, we can on one side go to the beach in 10 minutes. On the other side, there's a bike path goes all the way down the coast. We could spend all day on the bike and still not finish and end up in St Kilda and have lunch and come back. Now that's lifestyle.
Yeah, absolutely. Lifestyle is important. We had great examples just around the corner from where my brother lives. A home that was purchased by a contractor. It was in really rough shape, and he gutted the property in its entirety and renovated it, and it looked stunning. You looked at the pictures like, wow, what a beautiful property. You show up and you realize that the home is adjacent to railroad crossing. So how frequently does that train come in? Is it a commuter train? Is it a freight train? And at what hours does that train go by? And then despite the property being fixed, it's in a older neighborhood where the surrounding properties, where for some people it may or may not matter, but the surrounding properties aesthetically, they did not look like something you wanted to live around. So you can't take things at face value. Yes, a picture may say 1,000 words, but when you show up and you see it yourself, that's priceless. That's priceless.
Yeah, I really want to pick up on this. And I think of all the ideas we've had about this is probably the best one. Because like a mate of mine, a very good mate of mine who played guitar in my song, he said, "Oh, mate, I'm fixing up this house. I'm so excited. I'm going to do all the renos myself. I'm going to do everything myself." And he did such a cool job, and he did it all on Facebook. And I went to his house, and across the road was a fire engine station. And I'm thinking, well, how often do you have a fire? Oh, not that often, maybe once a month. That'll just sound off about once a week. They might do a drill, but it's at a reasonable time. It's during the day. And I'm thinking, gee, imagine buying a house next to a fire engine station. I mean, you wouldn't, would you? I mean, you wouldn't.
No.
So he spent all this money fixing up his house. No one's going to buy it because they don't want the risk of having a fire engine going off at 3 a.m.
See, when I purchased my first home, by design, I bought a property that backed onto a school. And they were having a hard time selling this property because the idea was, well, you're going to have kids running around screaming and playing. And like, this is going to be a bad decision for whoever purchases this property. And I looked at it and I said, okay, hold on a second. Take a step back. Are kids going to be there? Absolutely. Are kids going to be there during the hours that I'm there? No, because I get on the train and I go into the city and I work while those kids are running around and burning off calories in the schoolyard. By the time I get home, school is out and I don't back onto anyone. It is quiet in the evenings. And I don't have to worry about neighbors peeping into my windows because we live too close to one another. So it really depends, and you really have to know the area and have to know what you can live with and what you can't live with. And I was willing to live and back onto a school because I understood the impact or the minimal impact it was going to have on me during the school hours.
And did you you're saying your first house, so you sold it okay? People agreed with you when you resold it. I'm guessing you sold it all right.
Yeah, by the time I resold it, I had shared with my realtor the story. Like, well, this home could be on the market for quite some time. It's like, well, if family's interested, they're going to love the fact that it backs onto a school. It also has, sidewalks because it's a requirement, a zoning requirement that kids have to be able to get to that school without walking on the street. So it's safe. It's a family safe neighborhood backing onto a school. And by the time I sold it, the landscaping had matured. So there were trees backing onto to the property. You couldn't really even see the school. So it wasn't an eyesore by the time I sold it. Anyone who may have thought, hey, I got this big monstrosity of a building backing onto my property. What an eyesore. It's like trees covered it.
Yeah, it's a very strategic decision, surgical almost. A very, very deliberate decision, isn't it?
It was.
But as it results, and this could be the same thing with travel agencies, Lynn. But do you agree that the idea of a real estate agent doing live streamings could work really well? What do you think, Lynn? Do you think that'd work okay? Bez, do you want to pick up on that? Do you have an idea about whether or not a live stream could work for a real estate agent? And do you have any examples you want to share?
I think it can. I mean, think about it. Life's. I mean, the possibilities are endless, right? Because it's about
Absolutely.
awareness. The awareness of, hey, this property is for sale. Someone can engage. They don't even have to live nearby. You know how a lot of real estate deals are done sight unseen. But now they're able to talk to a realtor and ask questions, maybe even get a live tour around the house on a live stream. I mean, that would be awesome. I want to see that. I think over here where I live on a lake. It's a 3-lake system, and the top lake, you have to check this out. Check this Ponzi scheme out. So the power company owns most of the shoreline, and in order for you to have a house on the lake, you have to pay for the plot of land, about $1.5 million to $2 million. Then you have to build the house, unless there's a fish shack from the back in the day, when people tear those down. And then you have to, it used to be they did 99-year leases, but I think they've gone to 30-year leases. Now the plot of land you just bought, you don't even own, because now you're leasing a long-term lease, and I think it's about 30 grand a year to lease. So here you are. This is a Ponzi scheme. I want to do this. I want someone to buy something from me and then lease that same thing to them. But imagine if someone went and did a live stream in that area and look like, oh, this beautiful house. And I mean, people that live up in this lake area are like Nick Saban, Sanjay Gupta. These are people that have multiple homes. So they live in this area, right? This is one of their homes, right? So imagine a live stream for real estate. I think that would work well.
Let's get this started. This is very, very cool. So picking up on the lake idea and the bike riding and the beach, we could start targeting for you, America. We could actually say, okay, let's pick them. Let's pick all the very, very cool places to live, and let's assume that real estate is a lifestyle decision. It could also be a financial decision. You could say, look, if I buy a house now, it'll go up, and in 10 years I'll make money. You could do it that way as an investment. But imagine living on the lake in Collingwood or Midland or Port Hope. Man, just imagine that. That would just be the coolest thing.
Yeah.
And there's real estate agents there. There's real estate agents there, right?
Absolutely. When I last heard, I have a friend of mine who's a realtor, and this is going back maybe a handful of years now. There were 28,000 registered realtors in Canada. I'm sure there's more than that by now as the population has grown. And and everybody wanting to jump on what was our last real estate market boom. Now people are selling properties at $400,000 and $500,000 losses for those who bought in the last boom and can't get financing for their renewals. It's a tough place to be. So the realtors are trying to find a place to show up and educate and answer questions that buyers have. That's possible sellers have, and they're doing it this weekend. And I'll drop it. I'll probably schedule it as part of my content this week. It was just one after another posts from realtors that were coming through my feed, and they were just Canvas style. Hey, let's sit down, let's have a talk, let's share some insights and some industry insights. And there was zero engagement in all of the posts that I was coming across. Like, why are we doing this to ourselves? People buy from people they like, know, and trust. We hear that all the time. So why not turn on that mic, go live, and build that trust? Be visible, be in your community, answering the questions, and not wait for a post to get a like or someone to drop a comment so that you can reach out and say, hey, I saw you commented. Are you interested in taking a look at some properties? Those who show up to lives in this particular atmosphere that I'm suggesting are showing up with intent. They have questions because they're either interested in buying or they're interested in selling it, and they want answers from the trusted advisors.
Right there and then. Right there and then, isn't it? Imagine
That's
being
right.
able to say, okay, here's a picture of the lake. And while you're doing that, here's a picture of the kitchen. This is the kitchen of the house we're currently in. Come down and have a look. And here is the lounge room, right? And it backs onto a beautiful beach or a bike track, or here's the cafe strip, or here's a list of restaurants in the area. But, you know, this might be a mature way of viewing real estate, but I believe you're buying lifestyle. I love the fact that we can walk to the beach in 10 minutes. We bought this house on that basis. On one side, we can walk to the beach. On the other side, we can ride our bikes all the way into the city. Well, not quite, but almost. So we bought a lifestyle. We happen to have a house that's well situated. The house itself is not that flash, but it functions as a house. And that is a real estate decision: buy the worst house in the best street rather than the best house in the worst street. I don't know if anyone
So
believes me there,
I,
but
I love what you're saying about lifestyle, because that's what you need to sell. That's the sizzle, not the steak, right?
Yeah.
All right. So what? Yeah, the house is beautiful and stuff, but you got to sell that sizzle, the lifestyle. Like, what do you get? Who are you around? What? I mean, you got to bring the emotions into this equation. And I love what you said in regards to that. That you're selling the lifestyle, because hey, when Lynn is out there selling vacations, she's not selling, well, you get your meals for free, no, she's saying, man, I don't know what she's saying, but she's like saying, look, the the, the breeze, the coconut smells, oh man, people just whatever, she's painting an experience and that lifestyle. Not well, you're going to stay at the Hyatt Regency and they've got a good brick hotel. No, nobody does that.
It's deep. It's deep when it comes to travel, because you're creating when you're trying to, well, for me personally, if I'm booking travel, what I'm doing for that person, that client, is I'm helping them to create memories, because we aren't promised tomorrow, right? And that's why I always say time waits for no one, because it doesn't. So that's what that's why, to me, it's deeper than just
yeah.
Vacations, memories you're creating.
And with travel agencies as well, you could do this exact format. Here is a picture of us on the boat sitting by the pool drinking pina coladas, which by virtue of the ticket is free, unlimited alcohol for like 20 years. Just do your thing, but doesn't include gambling debts. I don't know if did you hear that story.
Oh yeah, gambling. Everybody loves to gamble on a ship.
But did you hear the story? Have you heard this story? So last week, someone pulls up to this really weird port, Norway maybe, and the guy jumped off. Guy jumped off ship mid cruise because he owed 16,000. He'd accumulated a $16,000 debt already on that cruise in 10 days.
Wow.
And he said, "Oh, look, there's no way I'm going to be able to pay this back." So he jumped off when they got to port. They never found him. And he's somewhere on the continent hiding out from his $16,000 gambling debt. Funny story. But see, what we're talking about here is lifestyle. You're on a boat, you're having fun, you're sitting by the pool, you're drinking pina coladas. Then you arrive in a port and you hang out, you go and have a look. Hopefully you don't owe any money and you get back on the boat. And this is exactly what live streaming is. Like, I don't think there's been anything ever since we've ever done that can do this. So, mate, you are really onto something. And we can start with realtors, and you can make a list of them. And just, you could, I don't know if you'd have to do the first couple on spec and then just start charging, but, take up to the next town, do a few. You've got your new mics coming. We're going to go on a road trip next winter because it gets very cold in Melbourne, relatively cold, 0 degrees, frost overnight. That's not cold for some people, but it's cold for us. And Carol hates the cold. So we might do the same thing. Take off down the coast. I'll pop into a music shop in Taree, go, "Hey, mate, what do you got on the shelf?" "Oh, wow, you got a Rode USB, pod mic. Let's have a play with that." "Well, who are you?" "Well, mate, I'm an influencer." "I know. Well, I know what I'm doing. Let's have a chat about that." "Well, there's no one on Taree on LinkedIn, Keith, but all right, no worries. Let's have fun. But I'm not giving you anything for free." So I don't know how I'm going to do it, but America, you are right onto it. You are right onto something there. And what I'd like to do right now, we're at the 2-hour mark, about 2 hours. I want to talk about Substack because we are, as a group, as a community, we are all about repurposing. So I haven't worked out how to do this yet, but the basic premise, and you can help me out with this one, Americo, is that you do need a pro account to do RTMP because it's a very advanced feature. So Substack itself doesn't have an icon for live streaming on the third party, but if you take the code and you put it in the back end, you should be able to do it. Have you got an understanding of how this might work, Americo? Have you had an experiment with it? Do you think you can guess it as to how it might work?
So the only thing that's probably swimming around in my head is, where do I get that RTMP key or that code? Do I gotta contact Substack directly and wait for them to give me the code?
No,
No?
it's there.
All right, let's go into Substack.
Didn't you
So
say
there's
that
going to be 2 boxes. One is going to be static and always be the same, and then the other box is going to be dynamic. So the dynamic one is the one that you have to make sure, like every time you go live on Substack, you have to actually cut and make sure that dynamic is in, because you can always save them or keep the one that's always going to be static, right? But that one dynamic, there's a monkey wrench, so you're going to have to go in there, slap it in every time you go live.
how do you find it? Where is it?
Let me go. Okay, so my friend, I got a friend. He's the one that I did this. Jim Fuse.
Yep.
He's the guy. Hang on, let me.
Oh, I think I saw where he posted something, didn't he?
He posted something about that. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Let me go find it. So if you go to his Substack, Let's go to his Substack. Infuse. Let's go search for him.
The question I'm really interested in while you're looking for that is, in which order do you do it? Do you set up a show on Restream and then send that show to Substack, or do you set up a show inside Substack and punch that code into Restream? Which order do you put the code in?
I think you do your thing in your third party, and then because you have to bring the keys over to your third party, right? Because hang on, let me. But it was a little funky. Hang on, let me see. Okay. So he's got one called Jim's Writing. How to go live on Substack using third-party streaming tools. It's right there. It's the first. Well, actually, do you see it?
I'm seeing it. Yeah.
And I think, let me see if he actually. All right, so he
I'm
recorded.
going to demonstrate how you can.
Sorry, he recorded a video and he demonstrates it, but he also has it like he has a step-by-step written right under the video. Do you see that?
Not yet. But...
Here. You know what? Here, I'm gonna put this in the back chat. It's directly to the art. You'll see it. You'll be you're like, oh my goodness. So that's the direct link to the article that has the video and then the step-by-step in text right below it.
It's starting to feel a bit like OBS, isn't it, Lynn?
Oh, what a nightmare. Gosh.
OBS, yeah.
So I think I think there's two questions. One is, do you set up just to take a step back, when you set up a show on Restream, you set up the show, then you send that file to the sources you want it to go to, LinkedIn, YouTube, Facebook. So you set up the show first, then you send that file to LinkedIn. I wonder if that's the way you do it. You set up the file, Substack Special Edition on Restream, then you send that file to your Substack account. That's one way that could work. Or do you do the reverse? Do you set up a blog post? This is the Substack Special Edition. You get a code from that blog post and then punch it into Restream.
So when I go into my studio and I add a channel, I get the option to add all the channels that are ready to plug in, the LinkedIns, the YouTubes, and then there's the option to add RPMT channel.
So because you've got the pro account. That's why I was asking.
So you click the RTMP, and then it'll prompt you to copy and paste the keys in accordingly. Once you have that, then I'm guessing you schedule your event and you choose your RTMP account as one of the channels.
Okay.
Yeah. So here's how you do it on the back end. You're gonna enter the Substack server URL to your streaming software destination settings, often labeled as RTMP or custom RTMP. So the Substack server URL, you're going to put where RTMP. Now, then you got to add your current stream key and configure your streaming software settings as desired. They said when ready, use your software go live function to begin streaming to Substack. Now, you do have to have 10 subscribers, and then this feature is open. They said there's some limitations. He says, while you can see comments on your Substack live broadcast, there isn't a built-in way to share those comments on screen. Advanced users, check this out, may find a workaround, but this is a limitation to be aware of when planning your interactive elements.
Now let's have a chat about that. What would be the point of going live to Substack if you can't put it on screen? There's no point.
Well, Substack has its own chat, a live chat, and if you've seen a show, some of the creators they'll give you everything, but if you want to comment on the live stream, that's Substack's comments, you have to pay or upgrade.
Okay. Yep. It could be an sort of a community add-on.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just like, you've upgraded to their, you're paying them, and so you get access or whatever. But yeah, like Jim Acosta that used to be on CNN, yeah, like he runs these amazing live streaming shows. He brings great guests and all that, but you can't comment unless you're paying, have a paid version of you subscribe to one of his paid levels.
I like this. Okay, so that would be the reason to do it. This is an additional special edition feature for community members.
Yeah. So let's say that, Keith, you're here doing this for free right now. But let's say you're like, oh, I think I'm building an audience. I've got a community. And you take it over to Substack. And right now, Substack's blowing up, right? Like people are flocking over there. And it might be worth for you, Keith. Now, Americo, does your pro account have 2 seats?
Yes.
And they both belong to you?
Yes.
So here's a thought. Just I'm an account that has 10 seats, and we split the cost. If you wanted to, split your cost, you could bring in Keith or anybody else you want, and you split the cost, and therefore, what do you pay right now for a monthly pro account?
Pro account's what, $20 a month US?
Okay.
25, yeah.
What, 25? Okay. So if what do you do with the second seat?
Well, the second seat I use or I have reserved for those who will be clients. They will temporarily be added to the account so that they can promote it and use the same studio link.
Okay. So you're going to use that as a revenue generator.
That's right.
Okay, I see. All right. Not bad. But see, Keith, let's say you find somebody in Australia that wants to go half with you, and you like Restream, and you split the cost, and before you know it, it's peanuts, and you get a pro account, and you got 2 seats, right?
I'm listening.
I mean, I'm just saying, I'm just throwing it out there because you might benefit from having a pro account. But Americo has 2 seats, and if you took $25 a month and split it in half, that's nothing. That's a cup of coffees.
I wouldn't take Keith's money. He's taught me more for free than I could ever imagine having to pay for.
But
well, see, there you go, Keith. You got a hookup from your brother over here, Americo, right? Because on that second seat, even if he had a paying client, he's not going to have somebody, and neither are you going to use it 24/7, right? It can be a scheduling thing, right, Americo?
Yeah.
This was actually one of the, I don't know if you remember this, but this was one of the reasons I set up Global Social Media Radio on Go Brunch. My original plan, before I realized that no one was going there, was that I was actually going to run a 24/7 station because I had like 16 rooms, and we were never ever going to get in each other's way. And so the goal, and this might still happen, is I'm going to run a 24/7 radio station at gobrunchradio.com, and you can sit in the cafe or you can sit in the barley room and you can do your shows. And I've got 16 rooms there, so I'm never going to run out.
But you could do that in Go Brunch, and there's somebody there that uses OBS, and they'll live stream in like music from YouTube or YouTube Music, and you ain't gonna get no strikes in your own Go Brunch room. But if you went live anywhere else, you'll get people coming after you, right?
Yeah. Well, it's a very good analogy. Tomorrow we're talking about who, not how. Picking up on what you've just said there. I personally would not feel comfortable going halves with another person in Australia on Go Brunch or Restream. I prefer to run my own show. I don't mind paying to do that, but I wouldn't feel comfortable sort of ringing someone and going, "Oh, mate, is it all right if I go live now?" Yeah, no worries. I'm not
No,
doing anything.
no. When you have two seats, you can go live whenever you want.
Yeah, so it is very similar to Go Brunch. There's 16 separate rooms.
Yeah,
Well,
you like if America was going live in his seat, it wouldn't affect you if you go live at the
okay,
same time he
okay,
goes live.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is good. Lachelle, we have a bit of a masterclass going on right at this second. I'm so glad you're here. We've worked out how to do a live stream inside of Go Brunch. Sorry, Substack. We're working. We've worked out how to go from Restream and StreamYard into a Substack post. Now we're just brainstorming how to do this. Don't you think it's cool how this has just taken off?
I think it's amazing. I was really surprised about the live feature until I just was going around looking through um, the back channel, or the back end of a Substack. So I'm excited. I think that's going to be amazing. So you're going to have the capability to have more than one person on the live stream.
No, no. What it means is that we can now send the file to a Substack post instead of YouTube, say, or to Facebook. It's just an additional source at the end.
Oh, okay.
So
RTMP.
yeah. So I'll actually go and get the Restream decoder on this. So with the free account, which is very robust, and we can't complain, you get quite a lot of really good features for free on the free account. You can have 6 people on stage and you can have all sorts of goodies. But this feature is very advanced. It's called real-time messaging protocol, and you have to have a paid account for this, right? But several people do. Like Bez has a paid StreamYard account. Americo has a paid Restream account, and it's only like $20 a month. So what I'm probably going to do in November to coincide with Repurpose 3030 is I'm going to pay for the 1 month and test it out, because there's quite a few advantages with the paid account. You get 10 people on stage, not 6. You get 3 channels rather than 2. You can record. And now this fourth advantage, I should work for Restream, is the RTMP. There's 4 reasons to upgrade: more seats, more channels, more guests, and RTMP. I mean, there's a really good, and recordings. So at least 5 reasons to upgrade. I think I may have even have talked myself into it. But it's $20, $30 in the Australian for us. It's money you've got. It's coming out of our pocket. So I haven't done it, but I think I will. And the thing that we've just learned today is that comments on Substack do not show up on the show. Now, for me, that's a very big fly in the ointment. Like, what I was hoping for was to have these really engaging shows on Substack, and for those comments to show up on the show. But Bez had a really good idea, and that is that if you do use Substack, the comments, and you'd have to have someone managing this, the comments only show up for paid members. So it could be a sort of a strategy down the line to build your community. But at any rate, I think it's worth trying, and because you've really taken to Substack, haven't you, Lachelle? You've really taken to it, haven't you?
Yeah, it's very user friendly. That's the thing I appreciate about it. And I enjoy how they provide insights for you to um, be more visible with your content. So they give you the tips at the bottom of a lot of your posts. You know, they give you that insight, and then they create graphics for you to share on all social media platforms when you're doing certain podcast posts. I think
Yeah.
it's only for like podcast type of content, but I think it's really good, you know. And I just was going back and doing some research, and that is really how Substack started. You know, their whole concept is to really help those who are writers, you know, to build community and to have a platform where they can have their message be seen and heard by the audience that they want to serve. So just knowing the history of it just made it that much more um, exciting to be a part of it.
Yeah, it's not a shiny object, is it? It's got more weight to it than that. There's more guts in it than just something that's new and we better try it. There's substantial benefits to having a Substack account, isn't there?
Well, and they've been at it for a while. I mean, we're you know, really getting active with it now, but I want to think it's been since like 2017 or something.
2017 it started.
Yeah. So, you know, it's just like the overnight success, and it's taken you 5 or 6 years to get there, right?
Yeah, it's amazing. Why don't we have a bit of a chat about how we're using Substack? Um, I'm still, the jury's still out about whether the RTMP idea is good, but how are we using it? Bez, have you started using Substack now? Are you making some
Yes.
posts there? Have you had time?
Yes. I've made two small posts, and I'm actually working on one now. Actually, I'm working on some. So yeah, I'm doing one right now that I'm putting in my that I'm going to put out there. It's going to be interesting, but basically around from a career perspective, people really, you know, when you ask them, hey, what are you looking for? What's that dream job of yours next? A lot of people I'm running into, they go, you know, it's a little fuzzy right now. And I'm like, hey, you're not the only one. A lot of people are like, you know, trying to figure out what's their next move, right? And so it takes some research. So that's more normal. And I've been diving into the data here in the United States on that. It's fascinating what you see. And so this is something I'm going to start talking about because it's okay not to know, but it helps you try to figure it out, right? You know, even if you grab a blank sheet of paper and your favorite drink and you sit down and you start putting stuff on paper. But yeah, I'm using it and you'll see more from me. I'll even do video there. So just watch out, folks. That could be the next Substack star. Yeah. I won't sing though, Keith. I promise. Back to you, Keith. Or Americo, maybe back to you. Or Lachelle, over to you.
We may have lost him for the first time tonight.
Yeah, I think that's what's going on.
That Australian internet, man.
So that's good. So now, Americo, how are you using
So
Substack?
Substack is a very good friend of mine. It's only 18 members deep, but I'm now bringing my long form content to Substack, and I'm inviting people on LinkedIn. I'll use short form teasers, inviting people to migrate to read the full blog posts on Substack. I'm also using it to hype up and build awareness for my guests, and the repurposed content from my live events are also being published on Substack. So,
Do you want to pick up on the real estate thing? I think Lachelle might not have heard this. This is a really cool use case for live streaming. Lachelle, have a listen to this.
So the road trip, week after week, we keep evolving and making progress and moving in the right direction. This weekend, I stumbled upon, well, I noticed for the last 3 weekends, realtors are showing up on LinkedIn, and with the real estate market really being uh, in the cellar, and no one wanting to buy, no one able to buy, no one wanting to sell at a loss, the realtors are at a loss, and they're scraping for attention. They're showing up on LinkedIn, and my feed was just filled with Canvas style posts. Hey, let's jump on a call, let's have a chat, let's talk about market trends, let's connect. But those posts were getting zero engagement and zero comments. And I had an aha moment. It's like, imagine, collaborating with realtors where, front loading their marketing efforts, but starting with a live stream. You have a property, a listing, and you start raising awareness. Hey, this particular address is going on the market on this particular day. We're hosting a live event. We're going to walk through the property. Join us live. If you have questions, we'll be answering your questions in real time. And they're going there to set up and stage the property anyway. So it's just an added operating cost for them to bring me in or help me or have me help them produce this a live stream event where they're answering questions, and then you take those digital assets and repurpose them as they're doing today on YouTube, on Instagram. But now you're taking your content from just another reel post to social selling story with social proof from the event that you just hosted. What do you think of that?
That sounds awesome. That is really good. Hadn't really considered that. I love how being focused on one specific niche really helps with that. That it makes a lot of sense, and you should be able to grow and expand a lot faster. Because it's I'm just thinking about the different organizations that are related with realtors, and for different places that they could actually um farm out some of those videos to, that could benefit, you know even like local chamber or something. It's just a lot of different things that could expand from that. That's
Yeah,
amazing.
One of the things, you go, you go, mate.
they're doing it anyway. I see realtors set up YouTube clips for the properties that they have listed. So it's an added step for time that they've already invested. But the only difference and the differentiator is that you're taking those assets that end up on YouTube and end up on Instagram, but you're starting with a live experience and you're answering questions. And you know that those who are showing up with intent. Those are right.
Yeah.
Those are buyers who have intent and are asking questions because they're interested in it. If not in that particular property, that realtor now has the opportunity to build that trust and visibility and gain a
Well,
possible buyer from that live conversation.
and I think it's really good with the storytelling aspect, because even though these clips are things that they might have been creating in the past, when you're finding a way that they can fit it into a puzzle, so to speak, it makes it where it is not feeling like it's work or that it's marketing. It's something that is very organic, that can really propel you forward. Gary V was talking about the whole concept of social selling. And he thinks like in the next 5 years, I believe, it's like 30 to 40% of your feed will be with social selling. And the benefit of that is that people are not going to just have the desire to want to go to a website, and it's just like, um, it's very was sterile and not really, you don't feel like you're shopping from somebody. Whereas social selling having these things in our feed, you feel like it's the person's personality that captivates you, and they're showing you how to use it. You're able to engage and ask questions before you buy. You can find out, well, how long is it going to take me to put this together? Right? You can ask those questions and get some engagement, which is totally different than just shopping off of a website. You feel like you're really creating a relationship. I think about a lot of these loyal brands, loyal fans to brands, like Apple or um, Android, right? They're very loyal, but it's like a community that is IKEA, right? That you create with some of these brands. And so being able to nurture them that way before they even buy, I think that is a good uh, advantage that you could have amongst your competitors.
I just love this idea. I just love it.
And here's the one thing that realtors talk about, maybe not enough, but having understood the real estate market, and it's probably the same globally, because it is a commission style lifestyle career that they're working on. Imagine being able to answer questions in real time through a live stream and not have to schedule free viewings on a Sunday afternoon, taking time to go show a property that may or may not be someone's cup of tea. Someone's just coming out, they have questions. If they can ask those questions during the live event, hey, how close are the schools? How close is a shopping? What's the demographics like? Right? You don't have to book an appointment to go see the property and ask those questions. Realtors will eat this up because they can answer the same questions that they answer repeatedly to different buyers all on one place. They can then repurpose that. Hey, here are some frequently asked questions that you might find interesting. Go listen to this replay.
Yeah. We mentioned, Lachelle, that buying a house is about lifestyle, not the house. So, if you are near a lake or a beach or a shopping strip or a velodrome or a soccer field or a school, these are all things that people want. We live in a house, but we don't live in a box. We want to live near schools and public transport and bowling alleys and cafes. And so this allows us, and I mentioned that, you can have these very visual assets. It says, okay, well, here is the kitchen. This is what the kitchen looks like in the house we're in today. And here is the lounge room. Right? And why don't you come down? And here's the school, and we're near a park, and here's a cool cafe, and here's the beach, and here's the bike track, and here's the velodrome. We live, all of these things are near my house. So, we bought a lifestyle here. We're an hour from the city, and the house itself is quite plain. But we bought a lifestyle. We're near beaches, we're near bike tracks, we're near soccer fields, we're near cafes, we're near restaurants. These are all things that we actually do with our life. We live in a house, but we live a life, right? We don't live in the house. Well, we do, but you know what I mean? You don't want to just sit inside all day, run up and down stairs and watch TV. You've got to be in an area. And I think this idea of being able to live stream the area and the assets and even locals that live there. I mean, I can't wait to get this going for you, man. This is a good idea. This is a very good idea.
Yeah, I can't begin to tell you how excited I am. I'm starting with the realtors, but there are so many other service-based professions that could benefit from this, right? And I don't want to overstretch myself, but I want this to gain momentum so that I can bring this to other service-based businesses.
And did you have any luck with Marsha in Massagoa?
So Marsha is open to sitting down. Her husband has a business that he's got going. he does carvings. So it's a craft style business, and they're open to sitting down. So once the mics come in, I'll look at scheduling some time with them.
Yeah, that's good. And so the thing I love about this show is that the original concept of the show, which we will talk a bit more about tomorrow, is that we were talking about Audacity and the idea that it's a very, very, very labor intensive process. And should we, and this is a very good chance to talk about this poll, should we do everything ourselves? Should we pay someone else to do it? Or should we use AI to do it? Or a combination? Now, I'm really interested in these numbers. 50% of people currently say, you know what, I just do everything myself, Keith. I just can't be bothered paying someone. I just do it. A lot of people say that. 50% of people do everything themselves. It could be said they're probably using AI and don't know it, but they perceive that they're doing everything themselves. Only 10% of people actually pay someone deliberately to do this for them. Now, that's a shockingly low number. But, it's a cost to the business, isn't it? It's a cost. 20% of people are saying, well, look, I found this piece of tech, and this is exactly what the show's about tomorrow. I found this piece of tech that's $20 a month. An outsourcer wants to charge $20 an hour. You start with this, America, because I know we've had that sort of emotional dilemma of, geez, if you use an app or you pay someone in India, you're taking money out of the mouth of someone who lives nearby. So how do we play that game? And we've got three choices. We do it ourselves, we pay someone else, we use an app. What do you think? What's the combination that we could?
So the cost of doing business does, you do reach a crossroad where you have to give up one of the many hats that you wear as a solopreneur or a business owner. Because if you want to start scaling or you're ready to scale, you can't do it by juggling or wearing all of those hats. The question is, how do you do it ethically? How do you do it with some form of morality without shifting and taking from the plates of those here, wherever here might be, and move those services offshore? Now, I'm all for, if you ask me, I'm all for onshore outsourcing because it keeps it local, keeps it inside the economy. But are there benefits? Cost, definitely. A benefit from a business perspective when you offshore your services. And then there's the humanitarian topic that, hey, you're now giving an opportunity to put food on someone's table that perhaps can't live and fulfill the same lifestyle that we have. So we're giving back to humanity. But where do you draw the line? That's a very, very good question. Listen, I've dealt with vendors, BPOs, business process outsourcing, where you send work, some of the rudimentary work, offsite, offshore. Finding balance is difficult, and doing it morally is just as difficult, depending on where your morals stand.
Yeah, it's a very important discussion. I've been to India. It's a very, very, very difficult place to travel in, and the level of poverty there is beyond anything we can possibly comprehend. And so, if someone in India gets $20, which might feed their family for a week, I'm willing, eager to give them that money. But where I sit on the whole debate of AI is that when I've been interviewed 268 times, and when I used to get interviewed, I used to send a file to India, and they would transcribe it for $1 a minute. So I was interviewed for 30 minutes, cost me $30. They got $30. I lost $30. Now Otter.ai, this is a very good example. For $20 a month, I can get 20 hours, not 20 minutes, 20 hours of transcriptions in an app that costs me $20. And that's basically an hour every working day of the month. Now it's very, very, very difficult mathematically to justify paying $20 a minute when I can get 20 hours for $20. Right? So mathematically, my brain kicks and says, "Well, this is coming out of my pocket," and they're very accurate. The transcriptions are very accurate, but it also means I'm taking food out of the mouth of that woman in Pakistan, and I used to send money to. So it's very difficult. But I really want to have this discussion because as a business owner, you cannot do everything yourself. There will come a time when you just have to outsource, or you limit your own growth. But let's have this discussion very reasonably, and we'll pick up on this tomorrow because Serena, who was on the call before, mentioned this book rather than how to do it, who to do it. So these are the two questions. What do you think, Bez? You talk a lot about internships. I'm very interested. If you were to get your stuff done, would
Right.
you pay someone an hourly rate, or would you use a piece of tech, or a bit of both?
Probably a bit of both, because what I would do is I would utilize tech to and because you always need a human in the loop. Or I mean, not always, but uh there is value in having a human in the loop somewhere, but I got to figure where that is. And so maybe with a combination of a VA and also the tech, I can optimize the workflow to where it's I'm having the VA do things that only a VA can do, right? So yeah, I'm a big fan of both. Like a little combination hybrid, I think can work wonders if you figure out your process, your procedures, or your workflows.
I think this is great. Lachelle, I'll bring you in here because Serena was really, 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 really impressed that you had interviewed the writer of this book. And it just goes to show how powerful the internet is. But what would you do in that context if you reached a war where you couldn't do it yourself? Are you more inclined to use tech, or are you more inclined to pay someone?
I would probably say pay somebody. I'm more of a people person. I do work with technology because I believe I don't want to get left behind, but it's not my um default. I default first to the person, especially in an area that I might not be familiar with. I'd rather have somebody that I can speak to, and whatever I'm thinking, they can answer my question rather than just
No,
relying on
this is good. Like
technology.
the idea of Substack and RTMP, that's a very complex thing. Like it took me ages to get my head around it. So but this is a very good question. This is an extremely good question. They're both right. Whether you find someone who can do the job and you pay them, or you go in a partnership with them, that's a good idea. Or whether you use a piece of tech. Like I honestly could not justify paying $20 for 20 minutes when I can get $20 for 20 hours. I mean, that just doesn't make sense mathematically to me. There's no way in the world I'd get my wife to agree, and I just couldn't justify it on a budgeting level. But that's a person that's not getting my money. And so you've got to find a middle ground. What do you think, Lynn? How would you do it?
Well, I'm not opposed to outsourcing and hiring someone at all. I I would definitely do that. I haven't as of yet. I use AI, but I'm not opposed to, if I had something that I felt I really needed the help with, I'll definitely reach out. I think, why not? Why not save the headache and stress? And if you need to do that, do it.
Oh, we may have lost him again. Here's something that I also consider that I've experienced. So, we've all talked about and have our own personal experiences of the pitch slappers. And from time to time, when I find myself in job search when I was working, you get all these resume and LinkedIn optimization offers come across, and someone offering, "Hey, let me do your resume for free, and if you like it, then we'll move in, and you can pay me to optimize your profile." Well, someone in Dhaka, someone in Karachi, someone in any African country, they may be really good at resume writing and understand the dynamics and the nuances of resume writing for their country, their geographical location. Western resumes aren't the same as resumes elsewhere. And the same thing can be said with other services. So you can outsource some work and get less quality. You can get just riddled with misunderstanding. I had someone who offered, I'll give you a free sample of some digital graphics. Let me do some of the graphics for your website. And I was specific. I'm open to it. Here are the colors that you have to work with. Here's the color palette that I'm working with. Here's what I want the graphics to exclude. I don't want any, cartoons or avatars. And I gave him a list of things to avoid and things to use. And he came back with an absolute disaster. Now, are my standards too high? Possible. But, that's what you also need to be open to when you're outsourcing in countries that aren't familiar with the local needs of a local business owner, or, refer to as westernized standards. They're different. We expect different things, and to pay someone less, yes, you're helping them. But if you're paying someone for something that you wouldn't want yourself, what's the point?
Good point, for sure.
So this is a very, 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 very good point. I want to pick up on this idea because we as business owners are probably constantly asking this question. Even just the idea of choosing a person rather than a piece of tech. Like, I want to tell this story. I've probably told it before, but I was a keyboard player in a band. I wasn't the drummer. I wasn't playing a physical instrument I had to hit. I was a keyboard player. Now, what that did, this is 1996. This gave me a very unique perspective on the world of music, because my keyboard can make any sound known to humankind at that time. I could play saxophone, I could play xylophone, I could play piano, I could play the Hammond organ. My gadget could make me sound amazing. It was the gadget, not me. The drummer, all he could do was hit the drums. He's very talented skill of doing that. But he couldn't play keyboards. What I did, talking about tech, is that I had a keyboard that also recorded, what we call a sequencer. You can do this now with Suno, but I could record the drums, I could record the bass pattern, I could record the keyboard part, I could have up to 8 tracks. I could record a whole song on my keyboard. Now, the amount of money it would have cost me to record that with real people would have been off the charts. So even as a young person, I got very used to being by myself in a room making music by myself. Now, of course, it's at a level. It wasn't actually very good. But I did everything. And then at the end of the day, I had a song that I wrote that I did. Right? So I've got a very unique perspective on relying on people. This is what I call it, relying. Because I would take that song to the band, and the drummer would play his bit, and the bass player would do his bit, and the singer would sing my words because he can sing better than me. But then the singer said, "Oh, look, this is not working, Keith. I'm leaving." What do you mean you're leaving? We've only been together 12 weeks. Yeah, it's not going fast enough. I want to be famous. I don't think you guys are any good. Well, that probably was the truth, but we've been together 12 weeks. We've been practicing twice a week for 12 weeks. I've lost sleep out of this. I nearly lost my job because I'm turning up late all the time. We did a demo. We did a gig. Then the singer leaves. We got nothing. Nothing. You can't have a band without a singer. And he wrote all the lyrics, so we had to start again. Right, this is 1996. Thought, I'm never putting myself in that position again. Never am I ever going to rely on other people again, ever. And that's a very unique perspective. That's why this book, Who Not How, doesn't resonate for me, because I don't want to rely on people. I love tech because I'm in charge of my own destiny, and I'm interested in that subplot, that tangent, that rabbit hole, if you like. Mariko, do you want to pick up on this? I'm not sure if you've been in a band or been reliant on people that have let you down, but it's happened to me a few too many times, and I'm not inclined to rely on people anymore, which possibly is a bit of my weakness, but it's also a strength, I guess. Have you got some insights into teamwork as opposed to solo work?
Yeah, I've never been in a band, but even if you go back to our academic years, how often, because they try to instill teamwork in academia, but someone's always pulling more weight. Someone else is just out having a good time. And it happens to us all the time. It's happened to me where I would drop what I'm doing to go support the team, but getting others to reciprocate is difficult. Everyone's willing to take the glory, but not everyone is willing to pull their weight. And listen, there are team dynamics where you don't need to pull your weight equally, because we might have skills that differ from one another, but even that sometimes it fails. You have someone who you're relying on as a subject matter expert, and you bring him on board to your team because they have the skill that you're lacking, and that team needs that component to make the project a success. And then that person just isn't invested in the project as much as the rest of the team is. So despite having the necessary skill, the effort and the will just isn't there at times. So I totally understand where you're coming from. Sometimes it's better to do things ourselves. Yeah, at the same time, if I look at myself, it's another great example. Do I set my standards so high that everyone that I call upon or offers to help are destined to fail because my standards are too high? That's also a possibility. And maybe I need to knock myself down a few pegs and accept the fact that, hey, not everyone needs the level of that you're willing to put something out at. And it's okay. And, it might be something I need to learn to live with. So there's many ways we can split this conversation.
Yeah, do you want to pick up on this, Lachelle? I'd love to hear the reverse of this. I'm not sure if you've known anyone who's been in a band or if anyone's let you down personally, but I've had so many examples of people letting me down that I've got a bit of a sour taste in my mouth. And I'm open to suggestions. It's my weakness. I'm interested in your thoughts.
Yeah, well, I had a lot of experience with this. I was an only child growing up, so I got very used to doing things on my own, being independent, self sufficient. And although I believe that's a strength, it really was a weakness for me. Fast forward to where I am now with a family with 15 children. I had to learn to recognize that although I could do everything, it really began to impact my health because,
Yeah.
that was really a catalyst for, my depression was feeling like nobody could do it
Yeah.
like I could. And I was always burning the candle at both ends, trying to do all the things and keep everything together. And when I learned to um, let go and ask better questions, I think sometimes, I was projecting my values on other people and believing that they believe the same thing. That was really a lot of my disappointment with partnerships and relationships that didn't work. It was my view being put onto them rather than asking them the questions to see if they were in alignment and a good
Yeah,
fit for
that's
me.
very true.
So once I started asking better questions, I was able to determine if this was a good fit, because I've learned the hard way that you can't change people. You're going to drive yourself crazy trying to do that, right? So, it's been a game changer, being able to collaborate with other people. I feel like I'm in a lot more flow on a
Good.
regular
Yeah.
basis because I don't have the
Yeah.
pressure, you know?
It is good. I
So
love
that's
this.
my
I want to be able to toggle between the two discussions because I've been burned a few times, but I do know that when you're in partnership, we've been married 35 years. My wife and I wouldn't be here without her. No way. So I'm very, very open to the idea. What do you think, Lynn? Have you had experiences on both sides? Have you done outsourcing, or have you tried to work with others and it's been a good thing, or have they let you down?
No, I haven't done any outsourcing yet, but like I said, I'm open to doing what I need to do, to if I need to do it, I'll certainly go that route. But no, not as of yet. No, I can't say that I have, but I definitely do recommend doing it if you need to do it.
And have you
I,
had any experiences of team play where there's been a good experience and you've been 1+1 = 3, or have you had examples of where the people have let you down and you've got a bit of a sour taste? Have you got either way?
Well, yeah, sure. Everybody has had an experience at least once or twice, right? You live long enough, you're going to come across that. I think the best way is you learn from it and you move on. Um, that's what I do. That's what I have done. If I've had that experience where someone has, of course, your family, your friends, people clients can let you down sometimes, right? But you move past it. You just move on. You keep going. That's just what I do. I'm gonna keep going. I'm not gonna let it get to me. It's
I,
life's too short.
Yeah, and I think another thing too with that is, the component of learning. So, I have these conversations with my boys a lot around, okay, so this happened. I had a situation recently where, one of my sons was trying to do some trade with clothing with a friend. And, it was some kind of craziness that they ended up where, it was causing some conflict with them. And so I said, so what did you learn from this situation? And he was like, well, I just felt that it wasn't that big of a deal. And I said, well, I think it was because you're still talking about it. And I said, so you have to think of, in the moment is the time that you plan to do something different, because if you don't do that, you're going to end up repeating the same cycle over and over again. You have to take accountability for the part that you were responsible for at that moment, because that's how you learn. Otherwise, you're going to keep on doing the same thing, expecting a different result. And so I think when we ask ourselves even the questions, it's so easy. This was my issue being in depression for 13 years. I was blaming everybody else. It wasn't me, but I was the common denominator, right? So I think when you get to the point to where you realize that you can have parameters and boundaries. I learned this another point from Dr. Ivan Meisner. He talked about a person that worked for him that cost them a lot of money. They made a mistake about something. And the person was really afraid. They thought they were going to get fired. And he said, "Why would I fire you? You just cost me so much, money." I can't even remember what the amount was. But he said, from that experience, he learned how to give people responsibility, but with limits. So it's like, okay, you can make a decision up to $1,000. Anything over 1,000, then, you contact the next person over you. So I think, we can start trusting people with certain limits, because it's a faith walk for us too, I wouldn't recommend anybody just, getting into a relationship and trusting the person with everything if that's uncomfortable for you, because you're not going to be at your best. You're going to always be like, I don't know. You be really tense. So you got to start small and work your way up.
Good point.
Oh, I just love this. I just love this. I've just Googled my own synthesizer, which at the time cost me thousands of dollars. You can buy them for $275 right now. So I've always been a bit of a one-stop shop type of guy, but I can see that that's got to be a bit of a limitation in regards to the wider community. What I will say, and I'm very proud of this, this is my current level of internet. And just in case you don't know, if you haven't been listening, Australia is number 75 in the world for internet, behind every single European nation, every nation in the Americas, and all the nations in Africa. Right? We are number 75. Very, very, very embarrassing. But I'm very proud to say, big announcement. Bang! I'm taking October off, and I'm going to solve this problem. And someone is coming to my house and is going to completely reconfigure my back room and has promised me 400 megabytes by the end of October. 400 up, 400 down, 40 up. Effectively, making my system, in keeping with the rest of the world. I had to do a lot of research, and I'm taking the whole day off. But the guy's coming to my house. He's going to completely pull apart my back room, put in all these different wires and connections. But when we put it all back together, I'm going to have 400 megabytes. And the dog agrees. Let's have this game. What do you get there? Speedtest.net. What's internet speed do you get there? And is it regular? Do you want to do that bit of a test? It's speedtest.net is the site. I currently get 54 down and 18 up on a good day. On a bad day, I get a lot less than that, as you know, because I've dropped out 3 times. Anyone want to go first? Bez, do you get a good sort of internet speed there? I know sometimes, Lachelle, your internet has played up on you. Do you get a decent internet there, or is that sometimes a problem for you too?
See, you're asking me some foreign language stuff. I don't know. So you go to this speedtest.net and it'll tell you what your speed is? Is that what's going on?
Yeah.
Okay,
This is an extremely important stat, because I've had people come on the show that were very distorted, right? Now, one time, and they said, "Oh, mate, it's just our internet." I said, "Yeah, well, you're not coming back on. If you can't fix your internet, I'm not having you back." Sounds so terrible. It's not fair to my listeners. Like, it's not fair to the listeners if you sound bad. This doesn't happen to us, but if you do sound bad, it's not fair. It's not fair to our listeners. Now, most people can't tell, but this guy was real. I don't know if you were on that call, Americo, but he was really, really, really distorted. And I'm thinking, unless you fix your internet, you're not coming back on. And you're not Bill Gates. If Bill Gates called in from a submarine at 20,000 leagues under the sea, I mean, I'd let him in. because he's Bill Gates. But this guy wasn't Bill Gates. He was just a guy who was getting in his car in a terrible internet zone and had nothing really magical to say other than the fact that he was a nice person. And I thought, well, you know, you haven't, I coined this phrase, you haven't earned the right to sound shit.
Mhm.
You know, Bill Gates can come in any time. You know, if Richard Branson calls in from the top of the mountain and there's a bad signal, I'll put up with it. But, you know,
Mhm.
Bez, do you get a signal like this? What are you thinking? Am I out of line, America, or am I?
No.
Am I out of
All
line?
right. Here's
Yeah.
here are the numbers. Results from maybe because we're in Canada, maybe we're closer to the satellites. How's that? We're that far north that we're closer to the satellites that are pinging off these signals. All right, so my download is 310.5 MBs per second, and upload is 264.2 MBs per second.
We're never going to get that speedy.
That's a
We're
mic
never
drop.
gonna
That's
get
a
that
mic
speed.
drop. That's
What-
a mic
what-
drop for sure.
What was yours again? Say it again.
So my download speed is 310.5 megabytes per second and 264.2 megabytes per second.
Right. Okay, good. So
It's
mine
the upload,
is
but yeah.
452 megabits download, and upload it's 34.2 megabits.
Mm. Now that's about what I'm going to get, Bez. That's a very similar amount to what I'll get here. Because you're in a slightly rural area, so
Oh
that's
yeah, I pay for this.
now.
You pay for the download.
Yeah, it's a shared service too. So if the neighbors most of these are shared networks.
Mm.
So if you rarely get your own dedicated unless you pay extra, right?
The dogs
if
are
there's
paying
not-
$10 a week. You know that the dogs are paying $10 a week for this. Can you hear
Yeah,
them going?
man.
They always come and go, mate. I want my turn. I want my turn. I'm paying for this. I'm paying for this. The
Exactly.
dogs come in.
It's called TREATS. That's how they pay. I can't say the word or they jump up and
That's right.
it's
That's right.
you know.
Lynn, did you want to have a go at it? Did you get a bit of a sense of speed? Getting a sense of how much speed you're getting?
Well, that's what I am doing right now. So let's see what it says. We're on the go. And let's see. So ooh, all right. Still going. Still going. 341 Mbps.
Yep. Megabytes per second.
All right. Well, there we go.
And that's up. That's the download. You'll get a second one.
And the second one is 202.31.
Wow. Can I have your internet, please? Who are you using?
AT&T.
Now, if you want to do this, Lachelle, this is cool too. But let's talk about why this is important.
I got mine.
Yeah, what is it?
Mine is 251.68 and 30.56.
Okay, so let's just say 250 and 30. That's good. That's pretty good. Then you're on your laptop there, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Now, why this is important? Well, you can see why it's important because I'm the host and I keep dropping out. Like, it's only because I've got such a good community. Imagine if I was on and this has happened. This is my little story, Lachelle. I was online with Ivan Meisner. True story. He sent me his book and we were talking about his book and I dropped out. And he's hanging there.
Mm.
Now, how embarrassing is that for me? Probably happens to Ivan all the time because he's on all different types of podcasts. He was very good about it.
Yeah.
But as a host, if I drop out of my own show, that's extremely embarrassing for me. Luckily, you guys know how to pick it up and we make a bit of a joke out of it. But what we might do now is we might just talk about what this actually means. Bez, you're pretty good at explaining this. What's the difference between a download speed and an upload speed? And what does that do?
Well, you're live streaming, right? Download don't mean nothing in that. That's where the upload counts. Now, fortunately for you, you're sending one signal that is split from Restream or StreamYard or whatever tool you're using, third party. But basically, the download is, stuff you can play games and there's a lot of things that downloads are useful for. But for any creator or business person that is doing video or audio, and I consider this show like a video audio show.
It's a type of video, isn't it?
Yeah, it's sending a video signal, but your audio. But anyways, in regards to your question, is what really matters if you are doing live streams and you're doing it is upload. That's not the sexy number. The sexy number is the big number. Everyone goes ooh but that's not going to help you if you're live streaming.
No.
Like you drop out a few times. At 18.8. Your internet's struggling to keep up.
And what happens is I still haven't worked out why this is, but hopefully they're going to solve it. Is when my internet drops out, it drops down to 0.18 of 1 megabyte per second.
Wow.
0.18. Right. I've rung them. I'm saying I'm paying $100 a month for this. I'm paying $100 a month for this service, and I'm getting 0.18 of 1 megabit a second. What's going on? Anyway,
that's equivalent to a grit.
Yeah, it's shocking. So I'm very, very excited. I've had to take the month off and ring a lot of people, and luckily someone's come into the house. They're going to probably pull the whole back room down, but anyway, we'll build it up again, and I'll be able to do shows. This is the fundamental reason why I don't do face-to-camera videos. I mean, my internet just won't support it. It just won't. It won't last. It won't do it. But anyway, now by the time this is all finished, it will make sense. And the winner is 452 megabytes per second. Hey, you get the prize. And what is the prize? It's a month on the lake.
As long as you pay the fee, the leasing fee.
Yeah, that's good. That's very, very good. Now
I want that Ponzi scheme.
Yeah, this is good. So we're learning from each other. And tomorrow we are doing the full shebang show on outsourcing versus AI. Like, I'm extremely interested in this topic because I work for myself, by myself, in the back of the house. So I'm a bit of a solo dude. Right? And since COVID, I've got very, very, very good. In fact, I'll tell you this story in a minute, but I'm very, very, very good at working from home. So much so that I never go to the city. I don't know if any of you know a guy called Adam Houlihan. Do you know that name, Bez?
That sounds familiar.
Adam Houlihan is arguably Australia's leading expert on LinkedIn. Leading expert. Like, he's massive. And he might even be the best in the world. Anyway, he's definitely a very, very good, and he's a good mate of mine. And he said, "Oh, mate, I'm coming to Melbourne next week, and actually in October. I've got this event in the city. You want to go?" And I said, "No." I did. I said no, because I thought, well, I'm not going into the city. I'll go out to lunch with you, but I'm not hanging out in a room with 20 other people just to learn LinkedIn. I already know LinkedIn. I'm not going, and I'm very proud of that. I'm not embarrassed about that decision. But this is a very strong ethos with my sort of learning style. It happens to coincide with the day that the guy's pulling the house apart, so I couldn't go. But when I thought of it, I said, you know what? I don't want to. I don't want to get on a train for an hour to go into the city and sit in a room with 20 people. I want to learn on. I'll just go onto YouTube and do that. Right? Whereas Bez, you might have gone, man, no worries. Where is it? Let me know.
That's me too.
Yeah.
I'm there.
So
Oh,
there must be, and let's have this discussion. There must be people like this for you, Adam. He is the dude. Like he is the, if not Australia, maybe the world's leading expert on LinkedIn. Like he is the dude. And unfortunately, he doesn't do online courses, but he does these in-person courses. So do you guys have a principle there that you can go and learn things from people in your zone? Do you have courses going on in real life that you can go to?
like
Mhm.
what? Yeah, I think so. Like they have. Yeah, I mean, there's a ton of things you can learn here in the backwoods.
But would you do it?
Like learn something new. Yeah, of course.
I don't mean would you learn, but would you go?
Yeah.
Yeah. hmm
Well,
Mhm.
let's
I
Well,
would be
I think for
because
me, it's the experience of you never know who you're going to run into, and
yes.
you can always co-create something in real time with people that you never would have done on your own.
Yeah,
Like this show, it's the same thing, but you'd be in person doing stuff with people.
yeah,
Right.
in person doing
Yeah.
things. You, you heard you said it with enthusiasm. I said in person doing things. Well, I'd rather I'd rather mow the lawn. You know, in person doing things. Man, what are you talking about? Get me out of here! Get me out of here! Man, what am I doing? When can I go home? Can I go home, miss? Can I go home now? In person doing things. Oh,
I think you're with the wrong people. Something happened and it has made an impression. I mean, do you think you could meet us all in person if we were somewhere?
oh, we would. Of course we would. Yeah.
So what makes that different?
Well, this is the difference. A lot of in-person things in Australia are sight unseen. So you don't know anyone in the room. You got to make it up. You're bouncing off. You're sitting at a table with 10 people you don't know, 9 people, because the table's typically for 10. And you've got to make conversation with 9 people you've never met. And that's my worst nightmare.
Yeah, so you talk about your show. So you'd say, we were having this discussion the other day. How do you feel about outsourcing? Or are you more of a tech person?
Yeah.
See, you ask them questions that are not usual, right? It's things that really will get people's personality out. I don't ask people normal things. It's like, okay, so what have you learned today? Or what did you learn this week in your business? Or who did you meet that really just, inspired you? See, that's the kind of questions I ask. So the conversation is different.
But why couldn't you do that online?
You can. Um, but it just helps me to not be nervous. I like to interview people and ask them stuff. So I just take that opportunity to do it, in real time.
Yeah, I love it. I'm having this discussion on purpose. Like I know this is a weakness. I know this is a sort of a slight blind spot for me. I'm not pretending this is a good idea. But wifey got home last night. I told this earlier, but I'll tell it again. Wifey got home last night and said, "Oh look, one of the guys in the office drove to Adelaide, 12-hour drive, 2 big sessions planned all day, 2 days. Got there, stayed overnight. No one came. No one. Not a single person turned up.
It
Right?
was his event or he was going somewhere.
The event was organised by someone in that town who was also co-presenting, and they
Oh,
had 30 people signed up on both days, 60 in total. All signed up. They rang them the day before. You coming? Definitely coming. Definitely coming. He drove for 12 hours to get there. He stayed overnight. No one came. He's pretty angry.
Yeah. You know, and see, for me, when I have those situations, this happened to me one time, right? I had an event. Now, it was not that far away, but it was at a library, right? So it was like a meet and greet type thing. And had my books all out. Nobody came. I had my daughter with me, who was 10 at the time. And so she's like, Mom, nobody came. I said, well, you know, now you're the videographer. So I started recording video as if I was talking to the people. You know, we got this
Oh,
room
yeah, yeah,
full
yeah,
of
yeah.
empty. Okay. And so she videotaped me um, talking. She took pictures of me. She did me signing the books and everything. I took pictures of me donating the books to the library, some of them. And we were packing up and ready to go. And then we had two people come, and they ended up being one of them was somebody that I have known online for at least 3 years. And she just happened to be in town and saw it on Facebook. So she came. And so she ended up interviewing me and then putting me on her show. So I just think it is, you know, you just have to keep going because you just never know. So my daughter, I ended up taking her. She felt so bad. I could just see that she was so disappointed for me. And I said, honey, these things happen. The show goes on. So I said, now you've been promoted to be videographer and you'll get something, you know, for your time. So I took her to Chick-fil-A. She was happy afterwards, but those things are going to happen because, you know, it just is the nature of the business.
This is good. I'm very open to this idea. The reason I'm mentioning it, because we're good friends, is I'm aware that this is a bit of a blind spot. He's a guy, at least Australia's leading expert on LinkedIn, giving me a free ticket to an event in the city about how to use LinkedIn. I said no. Right. I'm looking at that. I'm looking at myself. Why did I do that? It's just fear. Got to go into the city. Got to get dressed up. Got to have a shave. There's got all these people in the room. I don't know what I'm going to say. All of this, me. You know, I'm the world's biggest show off. But you get me into the city in a room of people I don't know, and I just freeze up.
Yeah. Well, you know, what you can do is pull your camera out and take pictures. Say, hey, I'm here to create content. There's so many different ways that you can pivot, you know, take pictures with him, interacting with other people, do selfies. You know, sometimes you don't even have to say anything. You know, I think we get in our own head about a lot of this stuff, you know, but you got to think about proximity and your brand and being able to be in the room with him. You know, you just can have a picture and you could just say, you know, doing some LinkedIn learning today. You don't have to even say anything else about it because people will create their own story based on the pictures that you post. It's like, oh my gosh, he knows this guy, you know. So then they're like, how does he know him? Then they want to tune into your show,
Yeah.
and then they want to start researching you and figuring out how did you get in the room with him, you
Um,
know. So
this
that's
is
what
why
you
I'm
got to
saying
think
it.
about.
This is why I'm saying it. I think I'm leaning in the same way that I'm asking who, not how. Who
Hmm.
Adam is the who. Like Adam is
Right,
the who. He is the
right,
dude.
right,
He's the who.
right.
Right? Why am I saying no to this? I'm pushing myself. But let's have a chat about this. Does this happen in your town? Do you get invited to events to America, and do you have anything there that you've been to recently that you've enjoyed?
There are some upcoming events that I'm thinking of attending simply because of what my goals are with this road trip. And it's perhaps time to show my face. But I'm going to piggyback on what Lachelle said. Walking into a room where you know nobody is the best room to walk into because everyone is a blank canvas, and you're not walking in with any expectations of making any friends, making any impressions. So there's no way other than from walking into a room where you know nobody. Whereas if you're showing up to a room and people already know who you are, you've already set that bar somewhere else on another stage, and people have different expectations. Oh, I've heard this Keith person, and that's why I'm going to this event. Then you run the risk of, all right, it wasn't my best performance. It was still a good performance, but now people are judging. It's like, it's not the Keith that drew me here. But that room where nobody knows, hey, it's a blank canvas, and you can make it whatever it is that you want, and you can fall flat on your face, and people get to experience how you get back up on your feet. And that could be the difference that gets you that next gig, is how you respond when you fail in a room full of people you don't know. So anyway, I kind of veered off lane here.
This is so good. Like, I mean, as I said, we're good friends now, and I'm telling you this because I'm aware that this is a blind spot. I'm not advocating this position. Like, I've got a free ticket to the Australia's leading expert on LinkedIn. I said no. I'm not saying that's a good idea, but I'm really interested in the idea that a lot of this stuff could be done online, and maybe I've fallen in a bit deep there. I'm in a bit of a rabbit hole of loving online so much that I forget there's real people in the world that could, be good friends or benefit from our wisdom. So I don't know if you guys have that sort of content going on here. We live in Melbourne. Melbourne has 6 million people. It's arguably bigger than Toronto. I think it's about the same size as Toronto. So, there's people in the city all the time. We could do something every day of the week. We could do something every day of the week in Melbourne. We have 6 million people. Is that about the size of Toronto? Do you know?
Yeah, depending on what textbooks you're reading, because Toronto, when we amalgamated and brought regions and called it the Greater Toronto Area, that's in the 5 to 6 million range. But Toronto proper is probably 4.
Okay. Yeah, fair enough. Greater Toronto, meaning Mississauga.
Yes.
Mississauga. Bez, do you want to pick up on 1 million cups and how your experiment is going with all of this tech? Did you get a PA? Did you get a PA going? Okay. I think Bez is getting a bit late there. We have cracked over 3 hours. So Bez is getting the highest speed, and so he wins. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go and get some lunch and rest.
I'm here.
Okay.
What did I win?
Well, if you like, I can send you a free PA. Let's see if we can get him one on Temu. But did you get a PA working? Because I did a lot of research for you, and I'm wondering if you had some of the tech going.
No, we did not. I tried, but the PodTrack P4 it's not going to work. It didn't have my thing didn't work, so I'm actually going to try something else. I've got the Focusrite, so that one has the appropriate plugs that I could make some stuff work. So I think I'm going to go that route.
What you need though is a speaker. What speaker do you have?
Basically the Focusrite, not the Focusrite, but the Bluetooth. But I have a plug. I just have to step down to a smaller plug.
I'm a bit worried you're going to blow it up.
You think so? Oh my goodness.
What I thought might happen is, do you have any friends that are musos that have a PA?
Yes. Actually, that happened. We had a speaker that speaks softly last week or the week before, 2 weeks ago. And somebody showed up with a JBL microphone and a speaker, one of those portable ones where, has the funky lights and stuff, like a karaoke one. And it was perfect. I went to her and I go, I was thinking about you last night, but it was sort of late. Didn't want to send you a message, and you brought this. Thank you. So yeah, somebody brought their PA system.
Yeah. So
One of the.
I've just done some Googling for this. They call it the Cube. I'm going to share this with you because this is important.
Okay.
You could use what you've got, but I think you're going to blow it up.
Yeah, I don't want to do that.
Yeah. So this Cube is purpose built, and I'll tell you why. It slants up. So there's two very this is a style of PA speaker. It's called a fold back. So there's two smaller speaker, maybe 10-inch speakers in there, and the actual unit points up so that the sound just throws to the back of the room. There's science here.
Right.
This is science. But the thing that's very important, is that this has an inbuilt sort of it's got its own inbuilt amp.
Yeah, I see that. The little knob there.
Yeah. So you hundreds of people make this. Like, this is not a uncommon product, but I don't know. There'd have to be someone, and this is possibly what happened. There'd have to be someone that have a speaker and an amp, a speaker and a mic all built in, and so you don't need to use fancy tech because. Right. But tell us about 1 million cups. It's working, and the crowds are increasing, aren't they?
Yeah. It ebbs and flows, all depends. But we're getting in the newspaper. People are coming from as far as a 30, 45. There's two people that come. One comes a 40-minute. Actually, for him, he's on a motorcycle, probably like 30 minutes or less. And then somebody else comes from 30 minutes away. So yeah, it's we're pulling people, and the guy that was on the motorcycle, he's building a blockchain type of app, that has AI in it. And I said, well, why don't you bring people from your town? He goes, you don't understand. There's nobody in my town like this. That's why I come here.
That's right.
So he goes,
this is a picture for you, Lachelle. Right? You love tech. This is a dream come true. I often think I should run a record. I should run a music shop. Like, imagine me in a music shop going, what does that button do? Oh, look at that. Oh, man, if we could just plug that into that, and I might even blow the windows out. Let's try that. So I have spent 16 years doing this. I would turn up to a gig with this speaker, right? And then I'd plug my bass guitar into this, and it's not hard. And you just plug it in, it makes a sound, and you bingo, you're off to the races. When I often say, I don't understand why you don't understand. This is like a dream come true for me. I've got to go and work in a music shop because I'm so excited by the fact that we might be able to solve your problem, Bez, and that it's not that hard. It's expensive, but not hard. Yeah?
Right. I was looking at different solutions out there, and they range from, 100, 200 to, I can get stuff for like anywhere between $300 and $400 it's really good,
It is good. Yeah. But look, by all means, try what you have because you've got some tech there, but I've got a funny feeling it's a speaker designed to play music. It's not a speaker designed to boom your voice to the back of the room.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Whereas this is geographically, no, that's not the word I'm looking for. What's the word I'm looking for?
Acoustically.
Acoustically built, aesthetically built to project sound to the back of the room because the actual unit bounces up. Now, Lachelle, why isn't this exciting?
I think it's interesting. Really, I'm excited for y'all. I just don't know what y'all talking about. But it's like somebody who speaks a foreign language and you're just mesmerized by it. And it's like, man, how can we be in the same space and I don't know a thing that they're talking about? Speaking of which, it's it's Hispanic Heritage Month, so I do want
Ah,
to
That's
recognize that.
right.
yes.
Yeah. Hmm.
Yep. Hmm. I've been
September, or is it coming up, or is it October?
no, it's from
It's
September
now.
15th to October 15th.
Oh wow, it's
Hmm.
not a geographic. It's not a sort of a linear month.
No, it's so yeah, because there is significance for September 15th, September 16th. Some of countries from Latin America actually have their own Independence Day, so starts around that time, and
Hmm.
it's a whole month of celebration. And then they have the I don't know if you've noticed that around that time, the Mexicans have what they call El Grito. Where they go, they s- they do their scream, right? That's what El Grito is, and it's their independence. Yeah. So you might have seen stuff on social media with Claudia Sheinbaum, the president of Mexico. She is a social media darling. She is out there. She's shaking hands, kissing me. She's all about the people, and people are capturing that. And it's amazing to see that a woman in a very machismo culture like Mexico, she was elected as their president before we here in the United States have even done that.
Hmm.
And that is amazing because we're not as progressive here in the United States as we think we are. There's
Hmm.
other countries around the world that are more progressive than we are. So just think about it. Think about having a woman elected into a high office is a pretty big deal.
Hmm.
So
Has Canada ever had a female prime minister?
Uh, for a very short term, it was Kim Campbell who, when Brian Mulroney stepped down, was the interim prime minister.
Yeah,
But
we've
that
had
that
one.
was only 3 or 4 months.
We've had one. New Zealand's had one several times. So you're right. There's examples in the world where we could learn from each other. Um, so that's pretty interesting.
One thing I did today with my daughters was we went to go get pizza because one of my daughters turned 21 today, so we were getting it for the family, but we had to wait for a few minutes. So I took them to a Spanish grocery store. I'd never been
Wow.
in it before. And so
okay.
I took them and it was just really an experience. It's just amazing to how you can have culture within culture, you know. So um it was just all the labels, everything was Spanish, right? So I just thought that was a really neat opportunity for them to see um, another store and how it was laid out and the different things that were in there. Um, so it was an experience.
Was it a like a big grocery store?
No, it was kind of like it was in a neighborhood area. It was
Okay, like a
actually in, you know how you have them in a plaza?
strip mall type of
Yeah,
thing.
strip
Yeah.
mall type thing.
Okay.
So it was other stores in the strip mall. So they had like, their own space in one of the strip mall spaces.
And that's interesting. You went and thank you for exposing your children to other cultures because I think it's really important. I've been watching this. I don't know if you've seen this white guy talking about Black history on social media.
No, I haven't seen it.
Oh my goodness! Like he told the story about Cadillac.
Uh-huh.
Like, oh, you gotta listen. Oh my goodness! I'm gonna find the link and I'm following the guy now. He's
Yeah, send it to
uh
me because I
yeah.
just I'm the type of person I post,
Hmm.
through my notifications, and I just don't get the time to see a lot of things. Until my kids
Yeah.
tell me, they'll say, "Mom, this was really popular," and then I'll go look it up. But yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting because I don't see a lot of people talking about Black history a lot. And like I had the fortune of in 8th grade, I graduated from back then it was called Berean Adventist Academy, a Junior Adventist Academy. From 8th grade, the oldest Black Christian private school in the city of Atlanta.
Wow.
And
Oh, so you've been in Atlanta that long?
well, I left in '87.
Okay.
I lived in Marietta, then in Ackworth. Back in the day, Ackworth was the boonies, you know.
Yeah.
And so yeah, I mean, I grew up in the South, lived in the South most of my life. Born in Florida, lived in all these southern states, Georgia being one of them. But yeah, it was the first school in my whole entire life that the history book was all about Black history.
Wow.
Like I had never in my whole educational, up to 8th grade. Yeah, that's a lot of years, huh? Had ever seen that, it was so fascinating. It was just a whole different world, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's amazing how much we can learn from each other. It's just, when we sit down and do it.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
I'm
And you
gonna
don't
leave you
realize.
guys. Yeah, you go, America. What do you think?
I said you don't realize how similar we are,
Mm-hmm.
and typically you learn that from the culinary learning, the spices, the foods, and the traditions. It's like, oh wow, we have a variation of that same dish, but we call it something else, and everyone kind of puts their twist on it as they learned as they were coming up. But I love learning through
Okay,
food.
let me throw something at you then, America.
Yeah.
So breaded steak here in the South is called country fried steak. It's the same thing except prepared a little bit different, and we call it milanesa. It's breaded chicken or steak, right? And what do you guys call a breaded piece of meat in Canada? Do you have that dish?
So we use the German term, the schnitzel. So you got beef schnitzel, chicken schnitzel.
Okay.
Anything that's breaded is in that schnitzel family.
Okay. All right.
Portuguese, if we're breading something, it's let's say galinha empanada.
Okay.
And you have empanada means something completely different in the Spanish heritage,
turnover.
right?
Yeah.
It's a turnover.
Mm-hmm.
But anything that's empanada, it's covered in the breadcrumb.
Okay. Yeah. We call it Portuguese a little bit different, but milanesa. My wife prepares it. She's from Guatemala, but it's yummy, but it's like country fried steak, It's like we got our own version of it.
Y'all are making me hungry.
I know we make empanadas at least 2 times a month. We make empanadas.
Mm,
Oh
that
yeah.
was yummy.
Mm-hmm.
What's your address?
Always. My
We can
girlfriend.
do a kiti. We can do the empanadas and have a kiti.
My
Oh,
dear
what-
friend makes tamales. You guys, they are phenomenal. Her family.
Yes.
Now you got my attention. I'll go into the city for food.
Yeah.
Oh my
You'll go into the
tamales
city
are
for
good.
food.
I'll go into the city for food. Imagine, I mean, I don't know how far away you are from Jay, Lynn, but Bez and Lachelle live within sort of strikeable distance.
Yeah.
Maybe you could make it a food gig. You could make it a
Yeah.
learning gig. You
Yeah.
Oh, we should. Yeah. You guys are probably 2.5 hours maybe from me, but
Yeah.
we should all, since we're all so close, we should just all unite in one spot.
We should unite in one spot. Yeah.
Yeah, Alabama and Georgia coming together. For
That sounds fun. That sounds
Yeah.
good.
You know, I used to live in Alabama, Lynn.
Yes, you have mentioned that when in Montgomery, right? Wasn't it?
Yeah. Oh, I mean, yeah, yes. I'll say Montgomery because that's like Atlanta metro area. But we lived 18 miles out. I think it was west, a little town called Burkeville or Burkesville. I remember passing an Air Force base. I think that was called Andrews. Is it Andrews?
Wow.
What's the one there in Montgomery?
I think you're right. That let me see. You think I would know? I live here, right?
Hey, people tell me like, oh, Georgia has 159 counties. Shoot, I didn't know there was that many counties in Georgia until I came back.
Georgia's really, boy, it's grown. I mean, the even Alpharetta years ago was just. I mean, it's in Douglasville. My goodness.
Yeah, Alpha Red. I remember that when I was a teenager, they were that was like the food high end place because they were building houses, but then for like the baseball players and the sport, the athletes, right? And
Mhm.
yeah, and I lived in Ackworth at the time. Red Top Mountain State Park was there, Alatoona Lake, and yeah. But I learned to in Alabama, that's where I learned to swim in. I remember Alabama because that's where I learned to swim in lakes.
Oh yeah, everybody goes to the lake on the weekend. There's lakes everywhere because there's so many of them. There's
Yeah.
one that's literally 10 minutes away from me. So, I mean, they're everywhere, and that's fun. Everybody get in the pontoon boat on a weekend.
Do
Fun.
you have alligators there? Alligators in the lakes, or are they in swamps, or are they?
That's Florida mainly.
Okay.
Gulf Shores, yeah, Gulf Shores side, Orange Beach, yeah.
But,
something happened on the weekend you might find really quite amazing. This actually happened. We got a message that a kangaroo was hopping down the street. True story. This happened on Sunday. A kangaroo was hopping down the street in our suburb. Now, this is just the sort of thing people would think is just rubbish, but we I don't know if they caught it or they were able to move it back because there's a reserve. But we all have these international stories. I just thought all the lakes in America had alligators in them because that's what we're told, right? But
Yeah.
that must be a very specific region where the alligators are, yeah?
Yeah, and Florida mainly, yeah. And the Everglades, and you will have to look out, in parts of well, I mean, in Panama City, even there you could, which that may sound hard to believe, but in Florida, yeah, you have to be watchful. Those things will get out. They will.
Look, it's probably time to wrap it up, Alicia. We're getting a bit tired. I want to leave you with the Melbourne accent. I want to leave you with this little thing that I learned during the week. Apparently, there is a Melbourne accent, right? And I've got to learn to speak it. So, in Melbourne, there's a Melbourne accent, not an Australian accent. There's a Melbourne accent. Right? And people in Melbourne who were born in Melbourne say certain things. So instead of saying nice, Melburnians would say noise. That's very nice. Very Melbourne, right? And the other one is me. Look at me. Look at me. So we sort of say OU instead of I. That's very nice. That's very nice. Went out on a Friday night. Friday night. Very nice. It's very nice. Look at me. Look at me on a Friday night. I'm very nice. That's the Melbourne accent.
It's got a little bit of Boston flavor in it.
Is it? It's got the
A
Boston
little
flavor.
bit of Boston flair.
I do resonate with the Boston accent. It's very noticeable, isn't it?
Yes.
Can anyone do a Boston accent?
No.
Cannot. Can't do it.
I'm going to send you all a video of a Google Ads campaign here done by a very famous comedian in Australia, and she's from Melbourne, and she's playing on the Melbourne accent, and several cricket analogies, which is a very Australian thing. So, but anyway, I reckon that's a lovely way to end the night. Have a good night, and and so next time, if you want to, you can join me tomorrow night.
Yeah.
I'm making this up. This is a true story. Our friend Tim in London sent me I was chatting to this person in Sydney, and she goes, "Keith, I think you have a Melbourne accent." I said, "There's no such thing as a Melbourne accent." She said, "There is. You sound different. You sound different." I said, "Do I?" Had to Google it. Google the Melbourne accent. Anyway, I'm going to go. I'll play a little bit of music, and I'll see you all tomorrow night.
All right. Good night.
Okay.
I can even do it.